And now it's time for Who's Views with JT and the Whotastic panel.
Hello everyone, it's us here at Who's Views. We are back with you. How are you all? Good to see you all. As you can see, I'm here with Third Doctor, with Ian, and I'm with the George, and with the Paul. Nice to see you fellas.
Hello. Thank you. Evening.
We are here, everybody, to discuss Target spins. So this is another in our sort of lovely celebration, if you like, of the Target books. We did a review of Target books whenever that was. A year ago, the year before, I can't remember whenever it was, whenever they were 50 years old.
1975, I think it was.
It's also an accompaniment to our annuals where we celebrated W.H. Allen's, sorry, what am I talking about? World Distributors Annuals. And here we are now looking at the spin-offs from the Target range. So it's good to see you all. Thanks for joining us. These were happy times, weren't they, guys?
Oh, they were indeed.
They really were, yeah.
Great memories,
Yeah. Not only did they treat
part of growing up.
Yeah, because not only did they treat us to, and you got to bear in mind if you're new to us, hello kids, we didn't have VHSs or anything like that. We didn't have downloads or DVDs or Blu-rays.
Let alone that. I mean, photographs were few and far between, let alone copies of the episodes.
We were lucky of electricity, let's be honest.
Sometimes in the 70s, we didn't even have that, did we?
Exactly,
No, that's true. Yes, but, you know, Target for us, of course, is so special because they gave us the episodes we'd never seen or the episodes we'd recently seen and put them firmly in here with these wonderful books. An entire generation or two got to read through the Target novels. It's not a lie, honestly. They really made us all read. So when these spin-offs started to come around, well, we all had to have them, didn't we, George?
Yeah. Well, the first one was the Monster book, wasn't it? Which... I mean, I don't know, but I've always suspected that Target looked at the huge success of the Radio Times 10th Anniversary magazine. I thought, there's something we could do with that.
Stroke your beer beating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, as soon as you've mentioned that, let's start with that one because we've grab your copies anyway. Yeah, because we're going right back. So this is, of course, the famous original, the Doctor Who Monster book with that absolutely stunning and beautiful cover by Chris Achilleos. This was first published in 1975. It was out there for quite some time as well until the reprint came along in the mid 80s, 1985. But this was special because, as you say, George, this is the one that started it all off. And as you can see there, everybody, for those who aren't familiar with it, you got a pull-out monster Doctor Who poster.
Of the cover as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
Let's get them out for the lads. Here we go. There we go, everybody.
There we go.
Now, I have a confession to make.
Go on.
I sold my collection in the 80s and tried to buy another one for today, and they sent me this one.
Oh, no, that's the reprint, everyone. Look.
It's the reprint.
No.
So, yeah.
Oh,
I don't want to brag, but
yeah.
my full colour poster is still intact.
You are kidding me. How could you have
You
done
didn't
that?
hang it on your wall, George. I can't believe it.
Look, mine was on the wall, as you can tell.
And repaired beautifully with faded sellotape there. That's superb. I like that. Yeah.
This is terrible, everyone. Look, this is what my young self did. Can you see this? I daren't even pull it any further than that because it's all stuck in the middle. But there it is there. Can you see that, everybody? Look, the sellotape marks everywhere. I treasured this poster. It was on my wall for until last week, really.
It's such a brilliant image, isn't it? I mean, with all these classic monsters on it, I also love the film Daleks on it, from those great shots from Terry Nation, from the Radio Times special. Amazing pictures, really lovely.
The Cyberman looking like a Cyberman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, but there's so many memories. I remember my nan, God love her, went to Blackpool with part of the family. And of course, they went to the Doctor Who exhibition just to spite me. And and my nan came back with the poster magazine of Tom Baker. You know that one.
That's a lovely one. That
we'll look at that at some point in the future, I'm sure, everybody. And this, and I was thrilled. And they never saw me for a week because I originally went. I just disappeared to read this.
Yeah.
at the eye-watering price of 50 pence in 1975.
Well, this will be. Well, Paul loves the cover of this. As soon as he's got the wrong one and he can't show it, let me just show you.
I can't, because the back cover is wonderful.
Guys,
it's
going to get
glorious, isn't it?
Ian, let's get a close up on yours then. You show that one, Ian. Here we go.
It is absolutely glorious. All those original book covers.
I used to drool over those titles and just imagine. I hadn't got half of them at that point, and imagine what the stories were like, and just think about what Troughton was like, or either Web of Fear or Moonbase. Incredible stuff, wonderful, you know.
Yeah. I used to use it as a shopping list, of course, for my mum or family. To be able to say, this one, please, this one, please, this one. This was so handy. This was like the Janet Fraser catalogue for young lads. Honestly, apart from the obvious bit in the other Janet Fraser catalogue, but never mind, we won't go into that.
I could be wrong on this, but from my memory is that the Monster book was published at the same time as the Dinosaur Invasion book.
Probably.
Because I remember going into Lewis's in Hanley with my mum and dad, and they had this wall of just rows of the Monster book and the Dinosaur Invasion book, all face out in their book section. And I was just standing there going,
do that again. Things don't change, do they, viewers?
No, we still do that now. I've done that.
We still do that now. Well, it's like, oh, look. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining us. If you've got any memories of these Target spins, the spin-offs, do let us know. Jules Sherwood is saying, I am thoroughly enjoying reading my Target novel books, which is a welcome distraction from the recent era, of which I won't buy the novel books as they don't deserve to be associated with the Target symbol. Well, here, good for you. And Lex has given us a super chat, guys. Sorry I can't make it for tonight's show. Didn't have a good night's sleep. Still got a bit of hay fever symptoms, but he's glad to be home in sunny Liverpool. Yeah, because he's been on holiday recently, isn't he? Well, Lex, get well soon, and I hope you enjoyed the playback. And thank you so much for your super chat. Really appreciate it. Lots of you all in the chat with us. This is great. Legion of James has said, good old proper Doctor Who. Yeah, and this is one of we want to do something uplifting now, just to get us over this thing and move us on a bit. Well, from what we're talking about. Why not the Target books? Yeah.
I believe that the Monster book was an enormous success. I did hear at one time that apparently it sold over 100,000 copies.
Oh, easily. Yeah. I think David Howe's book says that, doesn't it? You know, the lovely On Target book that he wrote. Great book.
You know, because that obviously opened the door for all the Doctor Who spin-off books that Target did that followed.
Yeah. Domgo is saying it's such a shame that these are still not in print. Well, to be honest, as Paul's proven there, but this one, and Paul, show yours as well, please, mate.
The expression, yes.
This original one here was around for quite some time, and then that one that Paul's got here was 1985. It was reprinted, and the fuss around that from Doctor Who fandom as well. You might still be able to get them from certain collectors, comic fairs, conventions, stuff like that, because especially that version, you might still be able to get it.
The price for this version 85 is £1.95. Would you believe it? £1.95.
Almost 4 times the cost of the original one in 10 years.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Inflation, my God, yeah.
Stephen Braddock is well saying, hi all. Look at that. He's got the Scarrison on his avatar there. Yeah. Wow. Hi all. Happy memories. I've still got my Monster book and the poster inside. Oh. And Darren Apken is saying, I wish I still had that. Oh, I know. We're going to talk about the illustrations. Isn't it fab? Yeah. You wouldn't get, again, this thing, guys, let's face it, was instrumental when the BBC Books took over the range years and years, decades later. They came up with their versions of the Monster books several times over, with various authors that we'll all know. This was the inspiration, this beautiful little thin 50p book, which was and is legendary to an entire generation.
Yes. Yeah. Which Terence Dicks probably knocked up in an afternoon.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it, everything he's written in here, he knows his stuff, though, doesn't he? He could do.
Oh, yeah.
He could do.
But what's wonderful about it, the fact this is kind of one of the original kind of reference books, isn't it? I mean, we had the Piccolo making before this. We had the 10th anniversary Radio Time special, which started lots of fan myths about what episodes were called. That's another show entirely. And this was fantastic, to get these reference books with pictures of doctors we even us old guys here hadn't seen. They're like Hartnell and Troughton, you know, amazing stuff. You know,
it was
wonderful.
And it was so exciting. Hey, PTA, thank you for your super chat there, saying 10 Target books on Amazon, 24.59. Douglas Adams. Oh, okay, yeah. And Domgo is saying to us, I'll peruse eBay for that one. Good luck, mate. Good luck. Pete Harrington saying, God bless Nanas. Yeah, she thought of me. She thought of me. And what's this from Frankie? 50p and 75 was about 20 quid in those days, was it?
And you're changed for the mortgage as well at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. Mind you, these are the days in Britain where you could get a 3-bedroom house for £3,000.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
Happy days. Everybody had a job. Oh dear, don't get me started. Ian Spiel, hello mate, how are you? My first Doctor Who book was Planet of the Spiders. There was a book sale at school, so I trotted home with this and asked for 35 pence. Do you remember those book sales? Remember the book clubs when they used to come around with those bits of paper? I would always go through, where's the Doctor Who? There it is! I've got to have it! Oh, loved those. Let's have a look. Sheriff Brackett is with us as well. I love those books, got them back in school, and I still have them. Yeah.
There's not a lot that you can say that about, though, is there? Not a lot of subjects that you can say you had them when you were like in the 70s or whatever, and you've still got them 50 odd years later. There's just, I think, I was thinking about this earlier. It's like in the 1970s, Doctor Who with Pertwee and then Tom Baker, built on obviously what went before with Hartnell and Troughton, but in the 70s, aside from not having enough money to make it, pretty much everything about that program was perfect.
Yeah.
The merchandise was perfect. The stories were fantastic. It was just, you know, it really was a wonderful time to be a Doctor Who fan, wasn't it?
The golden age.
It was great to be there at the start, wasn't it? Really effectively, this kind of material, because now the market's completely swamped. How many times they've repackaged a Doctor Who monster book now since the new series came back?
Exactly.
But none of them have the character that this one has.
Yeah.
No, this was special. This was special. Swamped and Drowning, I'd say, Paul. And Bill Lowry thing on eBay, there are a few on for around £7. How do we know if they are original or reprints? Well, there's several ways. Let me just get into that now.
The original has the diamond logo.
Yes.
Yeah.
This beautiful color as well. This one became familiar to a lot of us in the 70s because it's not the blue. It's this gorgeous yellow, orangey, red type one.
Yes, which was used on a lot of merchandise, that sort of graduating color.
This was just as famous as the blue one, wasn't it? In the TV show, we knew what this was, and it looked great on T-shirts back in the day as well. Also, secondly, you've got, as Ian pointed out, you've got all the covers on the back. This one is published in 1975. I'll just give you the detail of it because if you can find the ISBN number for it, this was 1975 by Tandem. The ISBN, look at me being all information service here. The ISBN, mate, 0426 114477. 0426 114477. If anybody's got taken a picture of that, it should be down there on the picture.
Bizarrely, there's the same number on the back of this reprint as well. So,
oh, right. There you go. Yeah, well, it will be, I suppose, with it being an ISBN. But of course, it's got the. And also, what was so important to us in this particular book was that.
Yeah.
I still get chills.
There's one thing I do ask because I've got the reprint here. They're putting a different picture of Pertwee in this version.
And Tom.
Picture of him.
And Tom is from State of Decay.
That's right. Yeah. And at the back, there's a similar thing at the back as well. So yeah.
And that's different. If you show the beginning, Paul, to show that difference, you put this page up in your version.
So you've got the 4 Doctors there.
Yeah, and then in the back,
Pertwee's from Spearhead, I think, and then you got Tom from State of Decay. Yeah, so
I think that photo of Poe is from the Silurians.
It's the Silurians. I was close.
Yeah, it's taken from one of those shots where he's with Caroline, John, and Bessie, I think.
Right. But you know what? I'm 5.
Different Troughton as well, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, different Troughton as well.
Yes, it is. It's a power one in this one, and that's the 3 Doctors one, isn't it? So there's a power one.
Yeah. There you go.
So it's just Hartnell who they've left alone.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
The great thing about that Who Views, it's one of my favourite memories because I was thrilled when I got this. Because back in those days, of course, this was not announced. We never knew these things were coming. You just saw them on the shelves.
someone for W.H. Smith or John Menzies and go, wow, and do what George did.
This thing was at the Blackpool. I can't speak for Longley, but this thing was at the original Blackpool exhibition, well past 1985 when it was joined by the new one Paul Scott. They had the 2 editions in there for quite some time. But opening this up and being greeted with that was a thrill. Because I'm 5 years old at that particular point when this comes to me. And I don't know anything much about the 3 previous Doctors, so this was a Bible.
But talking of the photos that we used in this one, I mean, could John Pertwee be any more John Pertwee?
Yes.
No, not possible. Just perfection, isn't it?
Hey, look at this from John. I have one on the way as we speak. Woo! Yay. Gosh, we should get commission from stuff like this.
We should really,
Honestly. And what have we got? Bill's saying to us, it looks like a few original print runs for £7. It's an absolute bargain. Actually, it is, to be quite honest. And if they're in good condition, keep them in good. I think it might be more with the poster, George.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't have one, I'd happily pay £7 for one.
Oh, so would I.
Yeah. They are a Doctor Who gem. They are classic Doctor Who. As Mark A. Wright is saying to us here in the chat, pre-video, this book was often our first glimpse of monsters that we'd only known about through reading the novelizations.
And a lot that had yet to be novelized.
That's right. But it was so special, wasn't it? Because I don't know if you guys want to look through this and see if you've got a favorite picture apart from the Doctor's one. I think one of mine has to be the beginning here with this, with who is the Doctor.
That is wonderful. That illustration of Hartnett from Doctor and the Daleks is absolutely wonderful. It really is. I love all that, all those kind of the planets and stuff on his coat. That's wonderful illustration.
And still works in black and white.
It does, yeah.
You know, beautiful.
It really does.
It's exactly what Mark's saying there. It's exactly what they're all saying in there. There's another one. Can I just show you this other one before you guys do this? Because this one also, oh my goodness. If you've been watching us, if you're regular at Who's Views, you know who my girl is. This picture is so special to me.
Yeah.
This was tying in with my memory. And the thing that got me with this, guys, the thing that I remember most is Sarah's jumper as well as the green alien. Because I had one similar. But isn't that brilliant?
What, you had a green alien?
Yeah.
If you buy them at W.H. Smith, I remember that.
Yeah. What about you guys? Any standout childhood memories from the original Monster book?
I'd like, you know, it was the first time I'd seen things like the Zarbi. The first time I'd seen a photo of the Zarbi was in this book. And the same time, it was the first time I'd seen the Cybermen coming down the steps with
that's true. Yeah.
But
that was a shock. Do you remember, Ian? That was a shock.
Yeah. But I remember vividly reading this back page, which isn't really, I mean, obviously you've got your 4 Doctor pictures again, but where it told you who'd basically been, because I knew Terry Nation, so I saw Daleks and Terry Nation, so I knew it's obviously the people who were responsible for creating these things. But, you know, it told you everybody that had created the Zarbi, the Sensorites, the Mechanoids, everything, the giant spiders. And this is where all these names started to cement themselves in here, that in later years, you know, you put the connections together and you realize the role that these people have played. And then right down, it was the first time I'd ever heard Eric Lapine Smith for William Hartnell, because, of course, when this came out, he was still alive, I think. And Kismet Delgado for Roger Delgado, who, of course, had died a couple of years before. And it was the first time I'd heard those names, and they stuck. And then, wonderful.
The other really interesting thing about that last page, I think, is Ian, is everybody who's got a name check there would have received a royalty from the sales of this book.
That's right. Yeah.
One of
the Doctor Who Monster book would have put a few pennies in a lot of people's pockets.
Yeah, over the years. Yeah, definitely.
I know we kind of covered this on our Sea Devils review, but this one's really stuck out for me with the Sea Devils and the Sea Devil cover of the novelization. This really, I mean, it wasn't that long since I read the Sea Devils, but it was kind of, this really stuck in my mind. But the one that really captured my imagination was this, of the Daleks on Westminster Bridge, which really disappointed me when I actually saw the episodes, because they weren't doing that at all.
Yes, because the photos are a lot better than the footage.
Yeah.
This one.
Oh, yes. Look at that.
Because to this day, I'm not good with spiders.
Right.
I'm not surprised.
I'm really not good with spiders. So
wait till we review that episode then.
Yes. Well, I mean, the very first time I went to the Blackpool exhibition, which was shortly after it opened, you walked through the police box door, went down the staircase, and as you went down the staircase, they had spiders on the ceiling in a web. And that absolutely terrified me. And I wasn't even downstairs in the exhibition at that point.
And the spiders hung around there for a few years, didn't they?
Yeah.
About 3 years, maybe.
And at the bottom of the stairs, they had the model pterodactyl on the big diamond logo at the bottom of the stairs.
Yes, we won't talk about that. The one that scared the bejesus out of me, I tell you. Hey, listen, we've got this question from Duncan. Was the reprint done for the 5 Faces of Doctor Who repeat season? No, it wasn't. It was just simply done because W.H. Allen realised they had a back catalogue, and because a lot of fans were asking for it again, simply because they'd ruined this version or they'd misplaced this version. And so they came out and said, right, yeah, we're going to reprint it. And I remember, guys, I don't know if you remember, but at the time when it was announced, I think it was on the pages of Doctor Who Monthly that they were going to reprint the monster book. There was such excitement. And I remember I got mine, of course, when it came out, this version. And I was working at the time. And I remember looking at it, opening it up and thinking, oh, when we got to that page of the Doctor, oh, the logo's different. Oh, the pictures are different. Oh, they should have done a straightforward reprint rather than messing it around.
I must admit, I never even realised that it had a revamped reprint.
Yeah,
I was totally unaware of that.
They changed some of the pictures in the book. Yeah, but not much. Well, that one you've just shown of Liz. So they added little bits as well. Can you see that? It's a sort of weird effect behind her. So I don't know, Mark. I don't know why they did that, but there was so much excitement, and then people going, "Oh, it's not quite the same."
Yeah. Well, it was so successful. A couple of years later, there was the second Doctor Who monster book.
There was, wasn't there? There was. Look at everybody in the chat with us as well. Graham saying to us, the Cybermen at St. Paul's Photo absolutely thrilled 5-year-old me. Yeah. I'd never seen anything like that because nobody bothered to tell me the Cybermen had come out of St. Paul's Cathedral once. How rude of them.
After Evensong, from WC, did you see? Remember
that? Graham is saying to you that Sea Devil pick is magnificent, Paul.
It is.
Enspiel saying the standout memory of the monster book is the utter thrill of that front cover, plus all the aliens and monsters that I had yet to discover. It was a special time, wasn't it, Enspiel, for all of us kids?
I was wondering, I have a theory. There's a picture of the Silurian off of this. Is this taken directly from the 10th anniversary special? There's a fantastic Silurian picture in that magazine, and it could be this one. It's a great picture. Yeah,
it must be. It must be from one of the publicity pictures. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, as far as a Silurian can have a facial expression, he does look rather disapproving there.
He does.
Give him a side eye.
I have to say.
Stephen, look, that shriveled jelly baby, he says, photo from the colony in space. That actually was a little bit worrying for me at that age. What's that? But that's what Doctor Who should be, where you just go, wouldn't get it now because it wouldn't be PC, would it? To go, another life form. Oh, look at this. Domgo's just got a copy for £5 from eBay as well. How fantastic. Wow, excellent. And Mark it right saying, Paul's comment captured my imagination, encapsulates this golden era of Doctor Who. It does capture the imagination. The same could not be said of the show today. No. That's why we're celebrating the show of bygone times through stuff like this. These things that hopefully will trigger memories. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, open up that world again to say, look at this. Isn't this interesting? Yeah. Lots and lots.
I think a clear indication of how successful both Doctor Who, the programme, and stuff like the Monster Book was back in the day was they never ended up in clearance shops or bargain basements.
Did we have any? We didn't have any clearance shops back then. We did have the bargain basements, didn't we? Yeah. TK Maxx's in Liverpool. Goodness me. Never go down a Sassy with a load of women. God, you could get lost as a kid. They wouldn't care. They'd be running through all these dresses like this, and you'd be like, Anyway, I'm digressing again. Domgo is saying, imagine the Daleks, sorry, Connie, imagine the Daleks trying to emerge during Australian spider season, webbed up before they could even shout exterminate. There's a film in that.
I think there is, yeah. Sounds like very exciting, yeah.
Yes, and Domgo saying those pics are fantastic. They really are. They really are. Mark's pointing out that seeing the neon logo with mid-70s Tom just looks plain wrong.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But that was the logo at the time, so I always wondered if a certain Mr. Nathan Turner clamped down and said, no, you use this logo.
Yeah, well, the surprising thing is the reprint was from 1985, you said, yeah. Didn't the BBC have a policy then that out-of-date doctors weren't featured, and yet Tom was still on the cover?
It was only on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
It was only on the TV, and this was, I think this because this was the reprint, because it only goes up to a certain story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think Planet of Evil is the latest story that's referenced in the Monster Book, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got Legion of James saying to us, the Monster Book was one of those childhood events. We read it and read it and read it. We used to draw the monsters over and over. It fired up our imagination and excitement.
Mm-hmm.
It did. Excuse me. And then Spiel saying the books from the 70s are far more superior than the drops from the last decade or two.
Oh,
they
definitely.
are. Why is that? Why
that.
are children's books so rubbish?
I'm actually surprised that they didn't put Colin Baker on the 85 version, regardless of whether he's in it or not.
Well, do you remember when it was coming out as well? What was going on?
Oh, of course, yeah. Of course, yeah. So that's maybe why not, yeah.
But that's the other reason fandom was getting excited, because of course the hiatus in 1985 was happening. So this came as a nice little present, and a lot of new fans that are coming to the show from like the end of Tom into Peter and Colin hadn't got it. So yeah, nice, but nice. Have you noticed the front cover as well? The slight different now. I remember fans at the time saying this. Can you see the Sideman's chest unit? Look.
Yeah. It's more cropped on the original version.
Yeah.
Yes. And Tom's got a suntan on the reprint as well.
Oh, I know. They really went to town on the reprint version. I'm not sure what was going on there.
Yeah, I prefer the matte look to the original and the shiny version to the reprint. Yeah, it's much nicer than the original.
Yeah. It's better than the Revenge of the Cybermen VHS cover from the same time, says Duncan.
With an Earthshock Cybermen on it, yeah.
And Ron Stapp remembering that a mail order company in Chicago sold a different Target novel each month. That's where all my money went. Oh, really, Ron? That's a nice memory. That's lovely. Look at this. Oh, and here we go. Mrs. Lisa Purpose with you. Look at this. Hugs and kisses at Who's Views, especially Third Doctor Ian. Kissy, 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 kissy. Hug, 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 hug. Ooh. No favoritism there.
Miss Lisa Pertwee. That's
Mrs. Lisa Pertwee. She's going to ruin my blood pressure.
Absolutely outrageous. Benign Crinoid. I got over my arachnophobia by ascribing comedy words to them. I'd say they were trundling when I saw one crawling a thing, for example. I still wouldn't pick one up, but I'm no longer terrified. Well, good for you, Benign Crinoid. Good for you. That's good. Yeah, if you get over something like that, you know. And Pete Harrington saying, get a room. So's Duncan. They're all thinking alike there.
It's a virtual room you'll have to get, but that's
well, that was such a success, as George was saying. This Doctor Who Monster Book was a massive success. It was also the confidence giver to Target and Tandem WHL and whatever you want to call them, because of course this was the first real major book that they did, not being a novelization of a TV story. And yet the hot on the heels did come in a slightly different version, the second Doctor Who Monster Book, with another lovely cover there, everybody. But I was quite surprised that when I found this as well, again in Blackpool, the size of this. The cover illustration is again by Chris Achilleos. It was published in 1977, everybody. So 2 years later. The book design itself was by Dom Roddy and Liz Laksiniska, I think her name was. But there it is there. And it follows the same format, doesn't it, guys?
Though it's exclusively about Tom's run this time.
Yeah.
I mean, by 1977, Tom was so successful and so popular that the first three Doctors didn't get a look in this time. It was all from Robot onwards.
Yeah.
And
I'm also keen on this one particularly because I like the fact that the other one had everything in it. You know what I mean?
Though this one boasts a lot of colour pages, which the first one doesn't.
Yeah.
And includes the companions, which the first one doesn't. Because here we've got Harry in all his colour there. Look at that, everybody. This was 70p. So it's gone up 20p in the intervening years. But there. And then, of course,
Tom was the lead in The Tomb of the Cybermen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that picture of Liz there. Look at that. But she gets quite a bit. She gets that as well. And then we even get Leela. And you can't see it on this, but there's a trace line around Leela because I wasn't allowed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I was not allowed. Mother, are you watching? I was not allowed to have the Dennis Fisher Leela doll because it was a dolly. The others were fine. But the dolly, no, I wasn't allowed to have the Jamie Summers doll either because it was a girly doll, right? You know, that's my mother for you back in the 70s. So I traced round this and stuck it on a piece of cardboard. And she had to follow the Dennis Fisher Doctor as a cardboard. But that's brilliant, that picture there. And there's lovely pictures
Isn't
there.
that wonderful?
Yeah.
Yeah, superb. Yeah.
Yes. It's just fantastic. Again, it's really good. And it's
The
Terrence.
he looks so pissed off in that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does, yeah. Well, he was, to be honest, wasn't he?
Yeah. Liz doesn't look too happy either in that illustration.
No, this is good stuff.
Wonderful.
This. And on the back again, it's got a nice picture of Tom and the stories as well. But I like the article as well. Well, not article. I like the read up. What's next for the Doctor at that point as well? Little did we know.
I was disappointed they didn't get a volume 3 of the Monster book to bring us up. You know, when we got to about 1980 or whatever, had from then on to maybe season 17 or something. That would have been fun. You know?
That could have been to do with poor sales, really.
Maybe.
Because on the back of this,
Well,
we're on the first one, we got the information about all the original Target books. On the back of this one, it says introducing the Doctor Who Discovery series from November 1977, a brand new illustrated series with the inimitable Doctor leading us through the amazing realities of the world and the cosmos through which the Time Lord steers his fearless course. And as you can see, prehistoric animals, space travel, mysterious creatures, early man, and the Conquerors, the how and why of Doctor Who. And that's possibly why we never got a volume 3 of this.
Yes, because they scuppered it, I think.
Yeah, we've missed one out. That came in between the two monster books, the Doctor Who Dinosaur book.
Yeah. Well, oh yes. Well, let's have a look at that because I've got that. I don't know if you guys have got it, but this was the cover of it. Now, this was very much based on the Doctor Who monster book. It came with, as you can see there, a color poster, which was, of course, the cover. Actually, quite a nice color there. And yes, we now know that the dinosaurs were multicolored to fit the Doctor's scarf.
Yes.
But nice cover there. Who did the cover on that one?
Was it George Underwood?
It rings a bell. Let me just check in my book as well. Yes, illustrations by George Underwood. 1976, this one was published. How many of you in the chat have got this particular one or had it? Let us know.
Had it. I don't have any more. I had it.
Look at this.
Yes.
Yes. Ian's posted like mine as well. Mine's in the as well. Let me show you.
Poster's still intact.
Look at that. Look at that. Again. The blooming sticky tape all around the side. Look at that.
Yes.
Oh,
faded sellotape from 50 years ago. Fantastic.
Yeah, terrible.
But unlike the Discover series, I believe this one was a very big seller.
Well, this what inspired the Discover series.
Yeah, I was going to say, so this was probably the reason the Discover series happened.
Yeah.
Because of the good sales of that. They thought, we can milk that a bit more.
Yeah,
but they missed the point of it there, to be honest. Dinosaurs always sell. Dinosaurs not two together. What a combination.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the illustrations in there are superb. Really good illustrations. Yeah.
And it's amazing, isn't it? Because this was actually quite interesting because I used this for a dinosaur project at school because it was very factual.
Yeah.
Very factual. You got it right. Yeah. Can I show you something though, Who viewers? Bearing in mind this, what year was this?
76.
So I'm 6 years old. I coloured it in.
That's not bad colouring in, actually.
It's not bad at all.
No.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
No. I was very annoyed with bits of it
it's
being
still
black.
wanton vandalism, obviously, but it's very good vandalism.
I made
It's a
up for
lovely
it, though.
illustration of Tom and the Tardis, though, isn't it? With or without the colorization of it, obviously, clearly.
I want to look at some of those illustrations in a minute, but I tell you, look at that. Oh, can you see that one? Look at that.
That's lovely. Really nice.
I can't even say this now.
Iguanodon.
Iguanodon. Thank you. Look at this. I did that one with Tom.
So you called it all in then, the whole thing.
Most of it, yeah.
The illustrations in this are the pencil illustrations in this are fantastic.
Yeah,
really
let's have a look. I've got some of them. Let's look at them all. You can spot the reference here, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Barry Letts must be livid. The dinosaurs are so good in this book.
There's this one. Not good.
Throttling the life out of that little lizard there.
Yeah, quite rightly too. This is years before Jurassic Park, everybody.
Yeah.
Tom there probably saying, "Your dinner, me old chum."
Have some leaves, cock.
Yeah. There we are. Absolutely fantastic, gorgeous illustrations, everybody, aren't they? Absolutely.
Oh, they're really lovely. Yeah, that would make a great story. You know, to imagine seeing that the budget, having Jurassic Park and the Doctor together, that'd be amazing. Love that.
But you know what? What occurs to me when I'm looking at this again recently for this show, I'm just thinking, here we are again in 2025, and dinosaurs are still massive with kids because we've got the millionth Jurassic Park out there now.
Yeah.
Well, around the time this was published, Milton Subotsky was keen to revive his option to do a third Doctor Who movie. And an idea he had was he had a detailed outline for a script called Doctor Who's Greatest Adventure, which would have featured Tom Baker and Peter Cushing.
Wow.
Battling against the Daleks and dinosaurs.
Oh, well,
I would buy that immediately. Yes.
How cool would that be?
Yeah. Let's have a look and see what you're saying in the chat. It's great to see. Well, thank you. 70s kids absolutely love dinosaurs, as they do today. You see, not that much changes. Not that much changes. And if the kids will go and watch a film like Jurassic Park or whatever they call it now, because it's on for quite a bit because of the monsters, surely that equates that they'll watch a decent episode or several episodes of Doctor Who because of monsters. Come on.
And
it wasn't long after this we had Glad That Time Forgot, George, wasn't it? I think around about this time.
Nudity.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Let's look at that.
Nudity.
Look, that's
nudity. What's been on there?
Outrageous behaviour.
Outrageous. Yeah.
Years before Virgin, I tell you. Yeah.
Was that bit done by Alex Comfort? That particular bit, was it?
Oh, look at Mrs. Lucy Pertwee. She's giving us some angry faces. Don't be angry, sweetie. We're just teasing you. Oh, bless you. What else we got here as well? Enspiel is saying, yes, I've got that somewhere. Graham saying, I had that, but it's long lost, unfortunately. That's a shame. My 70s Target books are holding up better than I am these days. Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yes, me too, yeah.
God. I look at them going, you utter... And Leader James saying, still got mine, to be honest, though. I've only read it once or twice as a kid, so it's still in pristine condition. I preferred the monster books. Fair enough. Yeah. Hi, JT and all. I definitely had the monster book and the dinosaur book. The monster book is probably still in storage. Oh, you must go and look it out then, because it's a lovely walk down memory lane. And Duncan's saying to me, JT, that's the worst. That's worse than those kids who wrote their name on the front page. Well, I did that as well. But I have to say, I made up for it decades later. That's my original. There's the new one. It's exactly the same, because believe it or not, this thing was on sale for nearly 30 years.
Wow. God.
I found this in 2001.
Where?
Not that long ago. Where did I find it? It was in a comic shop thing, you know.
Wow.
And although the original price was 75 pence, they wanted £1.
Oh, look, bargain.
Half there. I haven't coloured it in. The poster's still in it.
You're tempted, though, aren't you, just to do it again?
I am actually, yeah. Yeah. But so listen, this thing was really had a lot of published copies out there. Go and look for it. You might find a pristine, lovely condition. And honestly, it's so factual. If it hadn't been for my original edition, I don't think I would have got a gold star on that. That project thing.
Doctor Who saves the day again. Superb. Yeah.
Loving it. Thank you, Doctor. Fantastic stuff, though, that wasn't it? I mean, it was a good book. By Terence Dix again, so he did his homework.
Yeah,
you know?
As always.
Well, yeah, and something different for him as well. I'm a huge dinosaur fan, says Stephen Braddock. Never knew about the book. Wow. Compies, Protoceratops, and a Brontosaurus. Yeah, they're all in there, apparently. Can't remember, it's too long ago. How did Chris Chibnall manage to make dinosaurs boring? Well,
it's a gift. It's a gift.
Same way as he did with the show.
It is an absolute God-given gift. My Tyrannosaurus Rex, if I go 2 pages further down, I can see the outline of the T-Rex head where I tried to trace it years ago.
Oh, can you?
Still there. Yeah, still there.
It's just a shame there isn't a page with clack across it somewhere in the dinosaur.
No, you see, that would have got coloured in. At this point in time as well, they were also doing the colouring books.
Yeah.
So They didn't get colours. No, I'm kidding.
Well, they're the Pertwee one, did the Anna Tom Baker one of the colouring books.
There were 2 or 3 Tom Baker ones, and a Dalek one around that time as well.
And somebody who looked, or somebody that was wearing Mary Tam's clothes was in them as well. I seem to remember.
Yes.
And there was a cutout book as well, which featured Mary Tam heavily. I remember. I've got it.
Yes, that's right.
In a long time.
Yeah, I used to have that, but it's gone walkies. I was trying to find it, and I thought, oh God, where could it be? Hartnell's Ghost, hello to you. Evening all. I remember walking past the local small bookshop circa 1972, happy days, and seeing in the window, you can't do that anymore, can you? You can't do that now. And seeing in the window display out of nowhere the making of Doctor Who, 40p, I think, which was a relative fortune then for me. Yeah, we're going to come to that shortly, mate. So let us know what you thought of it when you got it. And thank you for your super chat, Mark Greaves. The nudity book drawn by Russell Davies, aged 8 3/4. Stop that.
That's where the rot set in. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh look, so many people with us. Thank you very much for being with us here, everybody. So yeah, I mean, I've got really fond memories of the Doctor Who Dinosaur book, but then they did take it on because again the sales for that must have been okay-ish to think, oh, we can do a series like this, because they wanted them in schools, George.
Yeah, I mean, I believe the Dinosaur book was a big publishing success. It shifted a lot of copies.
Well, it must have been a success because it was still out there. As I say, it was still out there, and it wouldn't surprise me. Sometimes in the UK, you find these lovely sort of hidden gems of bookshops, don't you? Which are just remainders in warehouses. They're the places you're going to find the Target books and stuff like this. I know there were a few down south. Hopefully, they're all still there. There were a few around the northwest, but they're the places you need to look out for because this is where these things are going to be in the remainder places. You know, nice that one. Where do we want to go to now, guys? We've done the monster book. Obviously, we've done the second monster book, and now we've just done the dinosaur book. Where would you like us to go next?
Should we continue with the Discovery series? It's kind of connected and do that, and then
can
get that one out of the way.
Yeah, we can do that. And this is where Who viewers, you're all going to get very bored now. Welcome to Who's Views. This is our Target Spins. Do please give us a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. This is another of our celebratory shows celebrating Doctor Who. Doesn't happen often these days. Right, let's get on to this. I remember that strangely, coming off the back of that my first book that was bought by my mother in the Discover's range was actually Prehistoric Animals. This one.
That's a nice cover, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Ian, you've got this, haven't you?
Yeah.
Again, everybody, this came in exactly the same format as the monster book. You did get the poster in the middle, which was the cover. But once again, yes, I did. Couldn't help myself.
Unsullied.
At least you've got exactly the right blue for the police box there, JT.
Pastels. I was into pastels at the time, obviously, because they're blooming everywhere. I tell you, they're coming off in my hands here. Instead of the 4 doctors at the start of the book, you got a few of the Harryhausen. No, I didn't. you got some toy dinosaurs. Can you see them?
Yeah, lovely.
There you go. There we go. Not the same. Not the same at all. But this was published in 1977, everybody. And it was edited by Fred Newman and designed by Frank Ainscough. Yeah. There actually.
I could be wrong, but I seem to think Prehistoric Animals was the first one that was published, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was. It was. Nice picture of Tom here. Now, this is obviously them trying to launch a range of educational books based around the Doctor, because the Doctor was huge and so popular. These weren't. I didn't find these as interesting, to be quite honest.
Neither did I. To be fair, I think I was bored with them a little bit because they weren't very Doctor Who-y. You know what I mean? Tom was in it, a bit of TARDIS in it, but it didn't really grab me. The dinosaur one was good, but after that, I wasn't really that engaged with them. You know?
They're quite dry.
Yeah.
Boring. There's no picture of Tom with the dinosaurs at all. I mean, they are nice pictures. I'm sure they're taken from Look and Learn or something, mate.
Well, I seem to remember hearing at one time the rehashes of stuff from the likes of National Geographic magazine and all that sort of thing.
They must have been, because look at the artwork on these. These are gorgeous, but they do remind me of those Look and Learn type books we used to have as kids.
Yeah.
I think what we've got to be honest about is that it's very close to the monster book, to the dinosaur book, but they haven't reused pictures, which they could have done. They didn't. They kept it all different. Whether they got them from another source or not, I don't know, because some of the illustrations are really, really, really good. But they haven't reused them. So I mean, credit to them for that. But they are quite dry.
I'm really surprised they went from dinosaurs to prehistoric monsters, rather than just starting afresh with something different, because they've kind of done this already, haven't they? Really, to be honest.
Well, again, the dinosaurs were so popular. I mean, the intention was to get this into schools. The dinosaur book may not have gone to school, but we had this in my school.
Yes, it's fairly clear that the T-Rex on that cover ate all the pies. Quite corpulent.
I told the other dinosaurs. Can I read the last page on this as well, everybody? Listen to this. The Doctor, as always, was completely unruffled. One would think he had just been for a ride on an underground train, getting out at a few stations on the way. Well, that was really most interesting, he said, pulling his hat down a little more firmly. You can see Tom doing that, can't you? I don't often have the chance of spending such a long time in one place, and it's been a most enjoyable 500 million years. Already he was beginning to wonder where his next adventure would take him. What new voyage of discovery would he make? He wondered what the next 500 million years of Earth's history would bring, and whether man, like the great dinosaur, would be then extinct. The TARDIS began to oscillate in that familiar fashion. Well, it's time to say goodbye, he said. See you all again soon. Bye-bye.
That sounds like the outro of the Pescatons, just about.
Exactly. It sounds like that, doesn't it? That's exactly what I thought as well, Paul. That beautiful thing, let's get into the chat. Before we move on to the next one. Mark A. Wright saying to us, educational books wrapped up in a Doctor Who cover. Nice try, Target. We could see through your educational strategy. We kids were not stupid. What I was saying before we came on, though, Mark, is these were actually the forerunner, in a sense, to the massive publications that came from Dorling Kindersley later on in the 90s. When you think about it, Dorling Kindersley, to this day, huge stuff. And they had an eyewitness range, which went on forever. And they had everything, including everything that these books did, I can tell you. But they were ahead of their time, really. It's just that they didn't take off. Ron Sapp is saying to us, this is such a happy show. Oh, I'm pleased about that. Thank you, mate. What's this from Duncan? Sounds like Tom on the Disney Time episode. And bye-bye, everybody. Sounds like Peter Corbett on Sooty. Corbett's, they were fabulous, weren't they? Stephen O'Neill, hello, Stephen. I'm looking to buy the original Target book of Planet of the Spiders, which on the front cover shows John Pertwee regenerating to Tom Baker. Yes, and you can still get the hardback versions around if you're collecting the hardback with the same cover. Beautiful cover, iconic cover, important cover. They're still out there. You just have to find them. Mrs. Lisa Pertwee is saying to us, I was at a flea market on Sunday and found an original War Games novel. Was fairly warm, but only 25 cents, which is 40 pence. Oh, and Day of the Daleks, same price. Yay. Well, good for you. Isn't it amazing, guys, that our books got over there?
Yeah.
Like the show all around the world. We didn't know that at the time, did we?
The American range, there's an American range of novels, isn't there? A few of them, a few Pertwee and a few, they're fantastic covers, aren't they?
Yeah. Very, very stylized comic book style covers.
And the logos are interesting as well, isn't it?
Because the cover of their version of Day of the Daleks has a unit spaceship on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Let's have a look what else we've got here. Enspiel saying to us, do you think that if they brought out a Doctor Who discovers dinosaur book these days, they'd have a T-Rex and a Gimp mask? Without a doubt.
Probably.
Without a doubt. Actually, flying some sort of flag. Whee! Yes, definitely. Look and read, said Rory and Cheryl and friends too. Yeah, look and read, yeah. It could have been lifted from those because they did that sometimes. And TV Comic used to do that occasionally with all the magazines as well. And Graham is saying to you, I'm with you folks. I didn't really like the Discovery series as a boy. I think I bought them, but didn't really treasure them, unlike the monster books. Oh, I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Yeah, I was the same. I think either bought them or got them as presents, and they weren't as loved as the monster books at all.
I didn't dislike them, but they were a step down because, like you, Paul, they weren't proper Doctor Who. They were
there's not enough monsters.
There was something else that was bad Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? You mentioned in presents though. I've got a couple here that were presents for either birthday or Christmas, something like that. These were safe bets for adults who thought, oh yeah, my nephew is into Doctor Who. I'll get these. And you were very grateful for them, and I've still got them today. Some even more grateful. So thank you. Duncan the Funky Evans saying to us, what was the Davison Dinosaur book? Was it called something different? Yes, that wasn't a Target book. That was Magnet. There was a Magnet, and it was the quiz book of dinosaurs. That's another range. We might look at them at some point as well. Spin-offs of spin-offs. But yes, he did that one, and space and magic and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's totally different and a bit more comedic. The next one I got in this range, and I remember as a present, was this one.
Early Man.
Yeah.
Yes, Early Man. And we don't mean somebody that's early to work or early to play or whatever, but the Early Man. But again, it was the same format. And
I do have very special memories attached to that particular one, because the first time I ever met Tom Baker, a very long time ago, he was doing a personal appearance at a big department store in London. And I was down there staying with relatives that lived there at the time. And just published was the Doctor Who Discovers Early Man. So I bought a copy. And Tom, very, very kindly, as he chatted away, and I wore his green felt hat as we were chatting away, because he plonked it on my head, signed the poster for me.
Oh, superb.
Tom Baker, Doctor 78. No, sorry, 1978.
Yeah.
There we go. Isn't that lovely?
Really nice.
That's beautiful.
Happy Days. He used to write that a lot, but he was so right, wasn't he? Happy Days. Because they were. And we look back at it now and think, oh, we were so bloody lucky.
Oh, God,
Yeah. We might have been dirty, but we had clean slippers. Oh, yes. Happy Days, though, eh? This one's got a couple of pictures of Tom in it, but do you know what? I hope my relative who brought me this isn't watching. I never really read it because I got bored by page 4. Do you know, it was one of those things, wasn't it? Cro-Magnon Man. Oh, I'll have people up in arms now, won't I? Cro-Magnon Man. No, they were all deaf. No. Anyway, Cro-Magnon Man.
At least Cro-Magnon Man sounds like a Doctor Who monster. That sounds more interesting. Like Man of Evil.
He made himself necklaces from the teeth of wild animals and harpoons from their bones.
Though, spot the modesty editing going on here.
Is that Howard Lang in the background there from
Howard Lang. Oh, that's funny. Yes. Anybody have that in the chat? Hope you we're giving you some triggers from memories here. Steve Henley saying Target books were just awesome. I love the fact that they experimented with stuff as well. Yeah. Really do. The Changing Face of Doctor Who, says Enspiel. Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
One of the most wonderful things about The Changing Face of Doctor Who, it's either the Pyramids of Mars or the Brain of Morbius, the audio version, which Tom Baker narrates. He the very first thing he says is The Changing Face of Doctor Who. The cover illustration features the 4th incarnation of the Doctor. Me.
The better one, he'll say. Never mind all those others. Hey, there's a question for you here, George, from Mark, who wants to know, you visited the Blackpool exhibition in its first year. Can you remember what was displayed on the merchandise booth as you walked out now?
There's a memory test for you, George.
Okay. I can write one very clear memory I've got of the very first visit, which ties in with merchandise, was when you got into the main control room. There was a guy there, and you could have your photograph taken, basically piloting the TARDIS on the console. They'd move the barrier away, and you could have a photo taken. If you had that done, you were given a free TARDIS Commander badge.
Oh, you got the TARDIS Commander badges. I had one of them somewhere. Yeah.
But the shop itself, I mean, my memory is there were things like the original iterations of the pens. There was a couple of badges. There was a postcard of the 2 Daleks in the original cave setting in one of the tableaus. and one of the Daleks, its eye stick is going up and down at a rapid rate of knots because it's just a blur on the photo. I can remember there being the theme single and the Piccolo making of Doctor Who. There was a few bits and pieces there, but nothing from my memory compared to what it became a few years down the line as merchandise went into orbit.
It did, yeah. Sheila being the Devotions is with us saying they're rather dull being black and white. That's probably why it didn't interest me, these books.
Talking about merchandise, I remember you remember these, George. My friend's got a couple. The exhibition badges with, I think it's a blue diamond logo and a red one.
Yeah, red one.
And they're amazing, lovely quality, lovely logos.
Yeah, nice. And there was another variation of that where the shape of the diamond logo was used, but instead of reading Doctor Who, it actually read Tardis Man.
All right.
Yeah, don't remember that one. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Look at this, Richard Brooks. Will's first of all saying hardback copy of Planet of the Spiders with Regeneration. The cover £74 on eBay. Crikey! Wow, that's a lot now, isn't it? Chat's going really fast now, but thank you everybody for joining us. Keith Burton is with us. Hello, Keith. If it's of any interest, I maintain a huge archive of Target book covers on Instagram, magazines, VHS, and comics as well. Doctor Who on Target. So if anybody's interested there, go and have a look at those from Keith. Thank you for sharing that with us, Keith. Nice to see you. What else have we got here? Oh, the chat's gone really quickly, and thank you very much for being with us. What else? Cast the drone. Does anyone know the location near Tapali, Cheshire that was used as a location for Doctor Who? Yes. Or if I'm wrong, I may be there this week sometime with a drone.
Yes, you want Peckforton Castle, which is
Time Warrior,
a few miles outside Nantwich. I was dragged up very close to it, and the Time Warrior was filmed there. Yes. And as soon as you turn into the road which leads to the main entrance, you will recognise it immediately. It's now a hotel and wedding venue.
Don't let that stop you.
But you can't. It does have public access. But yes, you want Peckforton Castle, and to this day you can see the Time Warrior all over it. You can the very famous set of photos that Liz did for the 10th anniversary magazine pressed against the wall. You walk right past that wall as you walk into the courtyard. The photos of John Pertwee standing under the big tree with his cloak on, that's part of the main entrance as you walk in.
So the message there is take a big cloak and reenact those pictures.
Indeed, yes. Dress code, velvet.
And if you get any film, do let us know. whosviews1@gmail.com. Okay, let us, and we'll have a look at it. So please let us know, because it's been years since I've been there. So it's probably all been tidied up now since I was there.
Well, the building was gutted by a fire about 20 years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. And it was revamped into a hotel and wedding venue once all the fire damage had been sorted out.
Yeah. So there you go, Kez. Have a great day on that one. There you go. Richard Brooks is saying, I've recently gone through my Target collection, pretty much got them all now. Some duplicates that I will sell on eBay one day. Well, again, let us know when you do. And Duncan the Funky Evans saying, didn't Doctor Who magazine make a Discovers book that was planned but didn't get made? Yeah, it was Doctor Who and the Pirates.
Yes. Because it was fully prepared, but the sales were so poor, they actually pulled it and didn't send it to print, even though it was completely designed.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I mean... I'm going to show you the next one that I got as a present as well, and show you how bored I must have been, because I started to colour in the cover. Can you see that? Can you see where I've done that, everybody? Look, isn't that terrible? But yeah, I did. This was 75p, this one. Sorry about that. Strange and Mysterious Creatures, published again in 1977, edited by Fred Newman, designed by Fred Ains. I mean, I just found this one to be... I mean, the photographs are awful as well, look. Don't ask me what that is. A platypus. There you go, platypus, and what's that? Echidna, yeah, exactly, Ian. It's just,
and these are all creatures from mythology and stuff like that, aren't they? Yeah. So,
famous picture as well, by the way. Look at this.
Of a mechanical shark.
I remember that one. Yeah, my God,
yeah. There is a narrative here where the Doctor, in some of it. I like this bit here that I found. Now, because I don't remember this as a boy, I looked through it the other day, and there was this particular bit here. Looking upwards, the Doctor recognised the unmistakable peak of Everest. Looking down, he saw a set of one of the largest footprints he had ever seen. Oh no, Not again, groaned the Doctor. Not the Yeti again. The Doctor remembers having to fight a battle with the Yeti monsters in the London Underground, although, of course, they were aliens in Yeti shape. But was he now destined to encounter the real Yeti? Well, the answer to that was no, as it turns out. Carries on. Listen to this one. As he expected, the Doctor found himself on the shores of the Loch Ness. Scarcely a ripple disturbed the surface of the water, which is many hundreds of feet deep at certain points. He seemed to be on a relatively remote part of its shores because there was neither a road nor any other person in sight. Well, come on then, said the Doctor. Let's have a look at you. The Doctor chuckled happily. First of all, because it was a relief to be out of the bitter Himalayan cold, and not that it was very much warmer. And second, because whatever was supposed to lurk in those waters had never done anyone any harm. So it was probably not all that fearsome a creature. And was.
Are they trying to say that Scotland's cool, JT? Is that what they're trying to say?
So he could remember the Web of Fear, but he couldn't remember Terror of the Zygons.
Yeah, he didn't remember Terror of the Zygons. So they were trying there. They were trying to be. But this one I found very boring, as you can see. So no, didn't like that one. Ian, what were your favourite discovers?
Well, I had three things that floated my boat growing up. One was dinosaurs. The main one was obviously Doctor Who. So when John Pertwee had Invasion of the Dinosaurs, that was just peak Who for me at that point. But it was also space travel. I just remember the first moon landing in '69, and when they brought out, brought out the Discoveries of Space Travel, that was the one for me because I was interested in it anyway. But I mean, looking through it now, a lot of the illustrations are very similar to what you'd get in the drawings are very similar to what you get in the World Distributors Annuals.
Yeah,
and they always try to throw in, and the Doctor here appears very much like a dark-haired Boris Johnson, I think.
Oh, he does. You're right. Yeah.
That's true.
Factual for the time, but I mean, talking about Skylab and the plans for Voyager, which was obviously not Voyager. Well, Voyager's in it, but Viking, the first probes to land on Mars, and everything. I mean, wonderful stuff. To a space nerd who also liked Doctor Who, seeing proper space photos intermixed with pictures of...
Still very blurry though, and that's NASA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an old Xerox machine they've used on it, isn't it?
Yeah. It shows you the limitations of it today. Keith's saying to us here, we need these books released for Kindle and Apple books. Let new generations discover these amazing books that are as important to the classic era of the episode. The only problem with that, Keith, is, and I know where you're coming from as a fan, it would be great. The only problem is, of course, is that there are much better and much more detailed books out there now. So I don't think they would even, on an Apple or download device, I don't think the kids would go for them. And with Doctor Who not being as big a brand as it was, when you are competing now with a huge market, and some of those books out there, especially the DK ones, they've won awards for what, 30 years now. Amazing.
They're not going to do a version with Billy Piper on the front cover, are they? Let's be honest.
No.
I think probably the only market for them now is collectors who want them, obviously to add the original physical copies to the collection.
Yeah.
I don't have the Early Man one, so I would look out that one just so I had them all.
Yeah, all the ones that were done. Digby's given us a lovely super chat here. Thank you, Digby. It's good to see you. This is wonderful. I have wonderful memories of the Dalek special. Oh, we're going to come to that in a minute, Digby. Get those memories in the chat for us. And Rose, hello, Rose. How are you, lovely? I can't remember Target books from when I was a youngster. Oh, I have never got them. It was only like the Doctor Who magazines or from different conventions, or better still, photos and autographs. Well, the great news is that a lot of the Target books, Rose, are still out there. That's the brilliant thing. You've got the original run, and then you've got the Blue Spine ones, which are short-lived because the sales went so low. They said, no, there's no point in us doing these anymore. So you can get those as well. And then, of course, you've got the BBC Books version of Targets and some of their reprints, which are ongoing, slow but ongoing. But if you can find any of the original ones, I would suggest, Rose, charity shops, of course, and any remainder warehouses that you come across, or jumble sales.
Jumble sales,
Car boots.
I mean, in the day, they had phenomenally high print runs. So to this day, there's still plenty of copies knocking around out there.
They were so blooming popular, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I still say on Facebook, you can join a lovely group called the Doctor Who Target Book fan club thing, and I still see some of their members, guys. Like the other day, somebody had been to a car boot sale, and there was a box of Doctor Who Target books, which I think the gentleman bought.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't?
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's worth it, and then just take them and look after them like their owners did. You know. Anyway, yeah. So yes, there was this other one as well. Doctor Who discovers the Conquerors. There's absolutely nothing doodled to make me on any of this. I think I just got this one and put it on the shelf to go with the others. Oh no, hang on a minute. Look, I have in pencil, just to make it clarified at the beginning here. I bought this in December 1984.
Oh, right.
So again, it was hanging around for some time. I wonder how much I paid. I hope it was 75 pence. But yeah,
I do remember in the 80s there was a bargain basement place. I remember seeing lots of them in for a while in the early 80s. Definitely,
yeah.
This is the most pristine one for me. I think I just got it, and you know, it's the only one that I will be showing today that has the poster in it still fixed in position, never opened, and absolutely no tape, nothing.
Really. I've got the poster in this one. Yeah, it's still the dinosaur one was the only one I took out. The prehistoric animal one. These are all in here, but these are actually works of art. I've just noticed in this one. Obviously, I've never looked at it. I've just printed it out on the shelf. Look at this.
Yeah.
They've just taken photographs in the National Gallery and stuck it in a book.
I have to say though that the drawing of Caesar on the front cover looks absolutely nothing like Kenneth Williams.
It doesn't, does it? No, it's an
that's disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah. And it should have Joan Sims sitting on this elephant. Yes. Well, no, there we go. But it was brave of them, I think, to go for it and experiment with it. And it just didn't. One of the reasons I believe they didn't work, everybody, is because the teachers decided not to put them in the school libraries. Probably for different reasons. You know, maybe they thought, there's enough Doctor Who, or maybe it's because it's got Tom based on it. I don't know.
Would it be because they were only available as soft covers? There wasn't a hardback edition, and therefore
possibly
not durable enough for a school library.
Possibly.
They're probably Doctor Who fans just thought there wasn't enough monsters in it like we did. That was
possibly that as well.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're interesting, aren't they? Everybody, they were interesting. So and yet they've become fairly famous, I think, the Doctor Who Discovers range.
Yeah.
Noodle Arms is saying to us, I have the Space and Conquerors Discovered books with the posters in. It's all part of the history, so we keep them safe.
2 down, 3 to go.
Yeah. Pete Harrington saying, get your physical books. It's well worth it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And Rory and Cheryl saying the Barras in Glasgow might be a shout. Yeah, it might be. I think anything like that is worth going to look at.
Yeah,
definitely. And definitely the car boot sales, not wanting to be, sad or depressing or anything, but people have to, pass on their collections at some point.
I remember going to in the 80s, like comic marts and places like that, and you pick up bits and pieces from those kind of things. That was quite interesting, There
used to be before Manchester went through where it went through. You know what I'm talking about. There used to be a fantastic flea market in the centre of Manchester, which is now all being redeveloped, and it was gone. And they always had all these old secondhand books and pieces of clothing and stuff every Saturday. And I used to go through from Liverpool occasionally on a Doctor Who hunt, and I would always come back with something. Always come back with some sort of item of Doctor Who. So it's that sort of stuff you need to keep looking at. Everybody find, because they still go on. Hey, it's Richard saying that. I bought some for 80 pence each at my local secondhand bookshop the other week.
There you are.
My case. Keith Burton saying to us, the Dalek special and the K9 special were among the first books I've ever bought as a young fan, essential to understand the show's history. That was the thing, wasn't it, guys, about Target? They were really getting into the fact, we've got a great big selling range here with the novels, which are the stories based on the TV episodes. But they did understand the fact that a lot of us only had that. So it's no wonder they came up with all these other bits and pieces then to try out for us, isn't it?
Yeah, well, chronologically, we've missed one out. The Target update reprint of The Making of Doctor Who.
Well, let's correct that right now then, shall we? George has shown the cover there. I'll just zoom in onto the graphic I've got here as well. There it is there. This is the republication, and slightly moved around version as well of the Making of Doctor Who, which was a massive success originally for Piccolo in 1972 and dealt with the making of the Sea Devils. here it comes again now, the making of Doctor Who, and it actually moves it, doesn't it? It actually looks at Robot instead. Yeah. So this edition was published by Target in 1976, everyone. And again, this became a must-have for all of us fans, didn't it?
And what they did was different from the original one. Was they have synopses of the stories rather than done from the Time Lord's files. Remember, they did that way around, and they've done it very differently. So it's more like a proper kind of filmography of the series kind of thing, isn't it? Really.
Lovely photographs as well, and again,
different photographs from the original too, aren't they? They're different photographs.
Yes, well, it's like but these pictures I stared at for hours when I was a lad.
I loved the one with the pterodactyl. That used to fascinate me. It really did. That was super.
Well, I couldn't get over that. These two were the Doctor, because of course I hadn't seen these two. I was like, who's that old man? Yeah. Wow, yeah, I absolutely loved it.
That photo of Tom being mobbed, it's just fantastic.
Lovely, yeah.
From Android
Invasion.
Android Invasion.
Really nice.
Yeah. And do you know what I've just found in this as well, everybody?
Wow.
That's me drawing the TARDIS as a kid, because I always loved the police box.
That's really good. That's very good. That's really good. Yeah.
What was this? BBC TV copyright WRIGHT 1980. So gosh, there you go. Based on the Stones of Blood one, I can seem to remember. Look,
that is really good, JT. Very good.
I can't believe that's still in there. But this version, it does the three Doctors, doesn't it? It's got the William Hartnell rundown, a nice little bio of him and of Troughton and John, who of course Terence knew, because it is all about Tom. But it is nice to have all that. It's got an origin story for Doctor Who. Enter the Daleks as well. It's lovely, isn't it? No wonder we all took this to our hearts and treasured this. And of course, this was the first, if you like, breakdown of all the stories, which I remember being thrilled at.
And it goes up to Hand of Fear, doesn't it? I think the last one's Hand of Fear, bizarrely, this mid-season.
Which, for me, extended the 10th anniversary magazine, which went up to Plant the Spiders. But, it was like one very short paragraph, whereas this went right through to the Hand of Fear. So, that was...
Isn't that weird? The Hand of Fear and then a blank page. Again, this thing, I took this everywhere with me and just devoured this book. It's such a special book for me. Absolutely loved it. And then this first introduction to the inside the television studio, George, because I got this one before the Piccolo one, of course. The diary of a production, and then the script. And this fascinated me as a kid, these scripts and the way it was. Because I didn't understand why it was typed the way it was. Until, at that age, I think, why is it like that? It's only later on that you realize that, that's why it's like this. 22 int Doctor's Laboratory. I remember my dad trying to say that means interior. See, you learned from this thing. It was absolutely fantastic.
Was that 60 pence for that? Was it?
Yes.
60 pence. Yeah.
And on this one, the writing credits were reversed. On the Piccolo version, it was The Making of Doctor Who by Malcolm Hulke and Terence Dicks, whereas this one, it's Terence Dicks and Malcolm Hulke.
Yeah.
So I suspect that Malcolm Hulke had nothing to do with the rewrite version. It was all Terence Dicks, so he got bumped up to top billing.
You are right. Terence admitted that years later. He said Malcolm didn't want anything to do with it, but because he was using the template and a lot of the stuff in the first one, it was that Terry Goss lead writer on that.
I love the fact in the original one that they do that Time Lord thing, and they do that kind of, they try and do a narrative with it, from the Doctor's trial, and then do all that kind of, that's a really nice way of doing it, and then from unit files and stuff like that, very clever,
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, Richard is saying I've got both making books. I prefer the Piccolo one. Yeah, I mean I've compared the two in my time now that I've got both of them over the years. I think they both stand up brilliantly, and it just shows there are slight differences in the production technique.
I must admit, I prefer the cover of the original one because of having in the Sea Devil is brilliant. I wish there was a photograph of Tom on the front of this one rather than an illustration. It'd be nicer for me personally. But
Graham is saying, I treasured that book. I love the listings of all the past stories with a brief synopsis, George.
Yeah. I mean, that to me always reminded me of the cover of the Loch Ness Monster book.
Yes, cool. Yeah. This book, can I just say as well, actually, everybody, this book with this cover was the inspiration for the thumbnails we put together for our Target shows. Don't know if you noticed, just a little point. But I didn't know how to illustrate them, and then that came to, I looked at this, and there it is. From the past, it's telling me what to do on the thumbnail. So thank you very much, Target. John Mason is saying in Manchester, what I was talking about, the Corn Exchange. That's exactly it, John. That was an amazing place. Amazing place. All gone now, of course. Noodle Arms, I bought the Doctor Who Making of a TV Series book in 1982, a while back, and it's very interesting. Yeah, again, this thing was around for quite a long time. I remember this being in the Doctor Who Blackpool exhibition until it closed. Because it was there in 85, because Colin was signing some of these.
Yeah.
It was there then. Isn't that amazing? So you should be able to get it around in certain places today.
Was he signing it? Best wishes from Colin Baker, not that bugger on the cover.
No, he's probably saying, who the hell is that? What's this to Rose is saying to us? Hey to the panel, what about people that just want to have wonderful memories from Doctor Who? I would just love to get my hands on them at a comic book convention. It would be great. Yeah, I mean, that's the brilliant thing. If you find them now, as fans, you'll understand it. You do get a sense of relief in a sense. You're, it's a wonderful find. It's like for us, the equivalent of Del and Rodney realizing that they got a few million.
Well, this is just pure nostalgia. It's lovely, isn't it? They're just reminiscing.
I was just about to say as Tom Baker always says, the power of nostalgia. There's so many memories, and like all of us, have been part of my life for such a long time. So many memories interwoven with them that the thought of not having them just doesn't compute with me.
Yeah,
but you just pick them up and you flick through it and you read it and you're instantly back to the age you were. And it was such a simpler time, wasn't it? I mean, it really was. It's not just saying that. It was, obviously we were kids, so we were shielded to some extent from whatever was going on at the time, because it wasn't an easy time to sort of like make a living or pay bills or anything. It was a lot of difficulty. But as a child growing up in the 70s and everything, it was such a simpler time. And it just takes you right back there. Lovely. Really is.
Yeah. There's also this brilliant thing about it as well, because this is the first time for me that I'd sort of seen, as I say, the stories listed Who viewers in this book, but they were very clever, because look at this one as an example from the 10th Planet, 4 episodes, and it gives you a synopsis of what 10th Planet's about, and then at the very end it says see Doctor Who and the 10th Planet.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Marketing. Can you flick to the very start of that book and tell me what they're calling the Daleks and Edge of Destruction at this point, or whether the early
you mean in the program guide?
In the program guide section, yeah,
we can show you that now. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute while I find that. Where is it?
I'm just concerned because obviously we had Radio Times Gate in the 70s, but
it's got an Unearthly Child, 4 episodes, and then the Dead Planet, 7 episodes.
Right. Okay.
See, Doctor
Is it Edge of Destruction Beyond the Sun at this point? I'm not quite sure what we
call it. No, Edge of Destruction.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Edge of Destruction. Marco Polo. And then it says at the end of that, see nothing. No, it doesn't. See it in your fantasies, everybody. What's this from Mark Walker? Nice to see you, Mark. Great that there is a channel of old school Doctor Who fans who realise that stories are where it's at and there is no need for hanky-panky in the TARDIS. Well, that's the Doctor Who we grew up with.
Yeah.
And we don't like to see it in the new version, just to try and basically get clicks, as people say. I can't be done with all that. Can you, Mark? It's nonsense. And it's failed, as we all know. So this was proper Doctor Who. All people want is the Doctor, So I have to point out at this point as well, everybody, as well, that if you didn't know, and you should, I'm sure you do, it also found its way onto audio cassette from the BBC.
Yes, I have that as well. Yeah, got that. Yeah.
Have you managed to get through it though?
No, it's a bit of a snore fest. I'd rather read it than listen to it.
I'm glad that's not just me. I've tried to listen to it. I've got to the end of the first disc.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
But strangely, they use the cover from the Monster book.
Yeah, weirdly. Yeah.
They use that, and then the making ofs are there. Look in the inside there, the track listing. But this is billed as the original 1970s program guide, and it's read by several people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people read this, which you have to really. But they read the entire book. But it is a bit sort of.
Are there any names reading it, JT? Who are the narrators?
Read them. Dan Starkey, John Culshaw, Jeffrey Beavers, Maureen O'Brien, Louise Jameson, and Katie Manning. But even that's not enough to.
John Culshaw, as far as I remember, he's doing impersonations of Turn Sticks at some point. I'm sure he does at some point. Yeah.
I'm not sure I quite liked that actually. But if you've got that as well and you forgot through it, let us know, because I don't think I'm ever going to get through this, to be honest. But I
did it in sections and I regretted it. I wish I'd not now, to be honest.
I might as well just do it myself. I might as well just sit down one day with a cup of tea and a suggestive biscuit and read it out loud.
Or just read it to yourself.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Ian Scales is there. He's jumping to the defense thing. I quite enjoyed listening to it. There are a few dry Brits, I must admit. A few.
A few.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Ian. Thank you for that one. Andrew Parker said it was read by the speaking clock.
That may be more interesting. Yeah.
Stephen's saying to us, love the making of Doctor Who books. So informative for how the show was made back then, namely properly. Ooh, Stephen Braddock. But you're right, aren't you? You're absolutely
right. Can't argue with that, can you?
Again, the great thing about this is that because it was a certain generation reading this and growing up with it, they then eventually started to make their own versions of this, didn't they? And there's loads of this is the thing, we're calling this Target Spins, because it's not just the stuff that came off the novelization, but the stuff that came off these original ones. We've already looked at the Monster Book and what that span off to. This did as well, to this very day. The making of, absolutely incredible. Incredible, that one. All right, so where should we go next, guys? Because there's lots of these loving for these things. So where should we go next? Paul?
Why don't we go with this?
Okay, then. Now, believe it or not, this is another book that you can get. Well, you could get. It might even be still around, because this is the Terry Nations. Yes, because he had to have his name on it. Even though it was compiled and edited, as you can see, that by Terence Dix, and Terry had very little to do with it. Terry Nations Dalek Special, published in 1979. Now, remember this being big, George, because this came out after Destiny of the Daleks.
Yes. Now, I did read an interview at one time with, I'm trying to remember her name, who was the editor for W.H. Allen of the Doctor Who books at the time, Christine Donahue. And she said that by 1979, they knew that if they put Tom Baker or a Dalek on the cover of a book, it would sell.
Right.
Yes.
But she said, annoyingly, Tom Baker only ever did one Dalek story. So they were trying to think of something where they could put Tom Baker and a Dalek on the cover of another Doctor Who book to get the sales up. And they came up with this.
It's a lovely illustration of the Spiridon Dalek, or Spiridon, depending which Doctor you are. It's a great illustration. And I love the lettering of the Dalek and that kind of metal lettering. It's really lovely, isn't it?
And it's actually a nice way to do the Dalek. I mean, we now have a Dalek logo, really, that was created from wherever, but we all now use that. But my version is again from the Blackpool Doctor Who exhibition when we went to see the Destiny of the Daleks in the 1979 Blackpool exhibition, and that whole season. And it was and again, it was there until the exhibition closed in 1985. There were loads of these boogers in there. And then I've got a second copy, which I again found from a comic fair around about 20 years ago. So these things could still be around there.
What's interesting in it, it's got that another story written by Terry Nation, The Secret Invasion. Was that reused somewhere else?
It was either the Daily Mail or the Daily Express printed it in. They used to do a summer holiday supplement for children. And it was published in there in about 74, 75.
Well, it says here, Daleks, The Secret Invasion, copyright 1979 by Linstead Park Enterprises. Which, of course,
is Terry Nation rehashing a story of his again? Surely not.
Yeah, but it was a reprint from, it was either Daily Mail or the Daily Express.
Okay,
that's right. Famous one, really. Again, this was a great book because I actually loved that.
Oh, yes, that is
1979, everybody. How much it's changed now, because you can't actually see the mutants because they don't show you the mutants in there. It's all electronics and stuff like that, which is a shame. And there is a colouring in bit. Look at that.
Yeah, I was like, this was clearly aimed at a younger audience than.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally.
I love it when the film Daleks turn up as well. There's an illustration there with a film Dalek, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
The one thing I do remember about this book and being delighted when it was published and seeing it was the photograph on page. What page number? We haven't got page numbers.
No, we
Oh,
don't.
that's a bit rubbish. Anyway, the photos on these pages.
Yes.
One on you there.
Yes.
Hold those
This
up
particular.
There we go. Oh, I've removed them completely. Hang on, keep going. Where are you? The wrong one there. There you are. Go for it.
This particular photograph, sorry, my finger's right by it there, of Roy Castle and Jenny Linden messing around with the Dalek casings during the production of the first movie.
Lovely.
I think that's a fantastic photo. Didn't realise at the time, but that street scene behind them on the back lot of Shepperton Studios was used the following year for the second Dalek movie.
Oh,
this was the first time for me when I saw this photograph from the chase, and it used to fascinate me. With it's got the Dalek, the Iridian, and then you've got Ian as unconscious.
I know what you mean. I could never figure out.
It's not even in the story. This particular moment, you know what I mean? It's a lovely picture. It's really fascinating.
But that picture for me, Paul, as a kid, I could never figure out what was going on.
Yeah, me neither. But it's a lovely picture. It's really intriguing.
It's great. Yeah.
And did we all build our own paper Dalek?
Of course.
Tried to. I have to say, I tried to on that one. I never went.
This picture always threw me because obviously favourite Dalek story for me, Planet of the Daleks. But there is a virtually exact same photo, but with just John Pertwee in it, and it threw me for years. It really did.
Well,
but, I mean, obviously now you know why rehearsal shots and second take things like that. Yeah. But at the time, you had no concept of that, so it completely threw me. Really did.
Or Katie probably just said, "Oh, I'm just nipping out for a fag. I'll be back in 5."
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is another lovely photograph I like as well. Which
the famous one.
That was a jigsaw puzzle as well at one point.
It was a jigsaw. From Whitman.
Though strangely, those photographs were taken while Curse of Peladon was in production.
Because he's got his tartan.
They're not from Day of the Daleks at all.
Yeah.
Lots of memories coming in from everybody in the chat. Thank you so much. Duncan saying to us, the copy of Making of I have looks like someone stabbed it with a pin and the name is inside the cover. Well, name and shame. Richard Brooks, glad you got one, Peter. I just replaced my long lost Timpo Copton's got. Oh, that's something else. Got rid of that one. Thank you, Richard. Sadeko's with us saying, I am a bit disappointed there was only one Dalek story in it. And Ian Scales, there is a story that apparently appeared previously in a newspaper, but I've never seen anyone produce a copy of the newspaper. Well, yeah, it would have been.
It was apparently a summer holiday supplement in one of the papers. I think it was either the Daily Mail or the Daily Express.
Yeah. We've got here Pete Harrington saying to us, looks like the same cover artist as for Destiny. It is. It's Andrew Skilleter.
Yeah.
We've been introduced to the range at this point.
Well, is it Tom's head on Destiny anyway? This particular head that's on the cover. That's on the Destiny. I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Well, it's not the same. It's not the same illustration. No, it's one of them going like that.
Yeah. Right. The one on the cover of Destiny of the Daleks is taken from a still from the Pirate Planet.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Digby is saying to us, the Secret Invasion was an amazing little adventure. The Daleks hiding in the underground.
Yeah, they stole that from the Yeti, didn't they? Yeah. So.
Yeah. And Duncan said, I need a new copy. I just opened my copy to discover half of it's missing. I go from contents page to page 59. Ooh.
Yeah, these books are very flimsy. They tend to fall out. I had a copy of the K9 one and they kept coming out.
They were glued. They were just glued. Listen, as I say, you can still try places like Galaxy 4 and the Who Shop as well. See if they've got any left. Because, as I say, this thing, I saw this in various places. There was a shop in Brighton as well, at the top of Preston Park. That was a beautiful, I don't know if it's still there, but it was a beautiful old bookshop, guys. And they had loads and loads of Doctor Who Target fiction and non-fiction, all in beautiful condition, just on a box on the floor. You know, it's worth trying, everybody. Go out and find them. The Dalek was trying to break a world record, says Andrew Parker. What else we got here? What else we got? Oh, in our wildest dream, we never imagined, says Mark A. Rice, that we would ever see the stories these pictures were from. This was it.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, it was, wasn't it? That's why they were so special to us. Really, really. Yeah. What else we got there? P. Ferreira, nice to see you. I hope page 59 ends on a really exciting cliffhanger. Oh, bless. And if you're as obsessive like Legion of James's, you'll buy one to keep and one to read. Don't know what you mean. Oh, Richard, thank you. Two-way book exchange is gone now in Brighton. As far as I can find out on the internet, I bought some of my Target books there. So there you go, Richard. Yeah, there is another one. What's it called? Paradise something down in the lanes as well. That's another one. Sometimes they have a lot of Doctor Who stuff in there if you're interested. Hello to Lee Patton. Nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. I was a little git in the 70s and I had no interest in reading. Then in 1980, I picked up a copy of Day of the Daleks. It made me an avid reader looking forward to any Target book that I could get. Oh, that's a great story. I like that, Lee. Smashing. Well done, you. Did you get all these spin-offs as well, did you? Or was it just the fiction for you? Let us know. Heartless Ghost wants to know, are you going to mention the Dalek Pocketbook 26 and 65? No, because it's not Target. So maybe another time, because there's lots to talk about. This is what I mean. We don't need the show on air because as fans,
yeah,
we know what we're doing, don't we? We all know what we're doing. There's so much to talk about from 26 years of you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Superior.
Yeah, superior. Yeah.
Time and space telly. And Mark I. Rice is saying to me, Snooper's Paradise in Brighton. Yeah, I've just giving it all away now. But sometimes they have loads of action figures and books and stuff there. Absolutely. But yeah, maybe it's even on the Bay of A.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So that was 1979 for that one. But as I say, this was special for me because the Daleks had just been on television with Destiny of the Daleks, which is a 9-year-old I loved. I thought it was fun. Really fun.
There's an illustration in there, and there's a soldier in it. Is that maybe the Brigadier? I can't remember if he's in. No, it's a colonel. It's a colonel, yeah. So this is a dead ringer for Nick Courtney, isn't it? This guy in
yeah, bless him. Yeah, bless him. Yeah. Lovely that one. Oh, great memories all coming through, everybody. So thank you so much for joining us again in 1979. There was another very similar one to this. They were called Doctor Who specials. A Doctor Who special. The second one, of course, was this one. The Adventures of K9 and Other Mechanical Creatures, written by Uncle Terence Dix. Did you guys get this one as well?
Yeah. Now, am I right in thinking this one actually came first? Because looking at the two of them, I know the two of them came in rapid succession within a month of each other. But looking at the two of them, the K9 one was 85 pence and the Dalek one was 95 pence.
Yeah, well, this was first in 1979,
Yeah.
Daleks are more expensive to pay Terry, probably.
Yeah. But as Ian mentioned before, with the late 70s, the era of hyperinflation, just goes to show in 1 month, the price had bumped up by 10 pence.
Yeah.
Look at this picture, Paul.
Oh yeah, that's the one for Destiny, isn't it? Yeah, from Pirate Planet, but used in Destiny's cover. Yeah.
Again, this is illustrated by Andrew Skillett, everybody who had been introduced to the Target range at this particular point. I loved it because of that. Again, a cutaway thing. This thing went on to become on T-shirts and on prints these days. You can get it around to this very day. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
And again, did we all make our own paper K9?
I did, and it was bloody awful.
Honestly, there's some lovely. This one's probably my favourite of the two. I think I preferred this because it had more creatures in it, more robots, more creatures like Cybermen, and they aren't they in this one, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, and Cybermen, mechanoids, and all sorts.
Yeah.
There's quite a few different Cybermen. Mine's in absolute pieces. The glue on the spine just gave way.
Yeah, that happened. I'm afraid. Yeah,
and I think sometimes bits of it weren't particularly. Like, does this photo from Galaxy 4?
Yeah.
The text is, fancy one of these for your next school outing. And I never got what that meant because I thought, surely you mean, do you fancy going here for your next school outing? Not one of these. What do you mean, a Chumbly? Or
a Draven? Yeah.
Hopefully a Chumbly.
Why would you want a Chumbly for your school outing? I still don't get it. I just don't. I should have asked Terence Dix years later, but I forgot.
But again, he knew his stuff though, didn't he? Even though K9 is after his time, but it's not bad. I mean, it's what he's done basically. He's taken K9 and he's added all these other mechanical creatures as well. It's like taking on what he knows from the Monster book, really.
Yeah.
But
making it
again, very much aimed at the younger reader, that one.
Oh, totally. I think these things were from 5 years upwards. I think I've got somewhere in my research. It was five years upwards to about 9 or 10, which was fine because that's exactly the market I was in. Ian Scales is saying I was disappointed that the K9 one didn't have a story. And Stephen L. Rees saying, hi, all a bit late to the party. Nice to see you, Stephen. I'm not well. I will get well soon, mate. I'm enjoying the chat. I discovered the books on an indoor market being sold for 50p in the 90s. Death to the Daleks was my first.
Lovely.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. John Mason saying to us, I remember looking at the pictures in the books and thinking, I'll never see those shows. And when the VHS came out, I couldn't afford them. So I still couldn't see them.
Oh, that's tough, isn't it? Really hard. How awful that must have been. Yeah.
That must have been terrible. But yeah, not everybody was able to buy well, they started at $9.99, then they crept up, didn't they? Do you remember they went up to something like $13.99 or something like that?
Well, and the twin packs, which were just a total rip-off, were $19.99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They went over the $19.99 when they did an increase in VAT.
That's right. Yeah. So BBC Studios, you shouldn't be forgetting all of us, you know. You should not be forgetting all of us. Yeah. Be bloody well the reason you're still bloody there.
Yeah. And don't forget this was $19.99 in the 80s and 90s, not now.
Yeah.
Dougie Stewart's with us saying, I loved the Target books. We absolutely did, didn't we? Legion of James, at school, we had to do book reports every month on a book or books we'd read. My teacher asked my parents at Parents' Evening if they could encourage me to read something other than Doctor Who, and I didn't. Who else had a teacher that said that to your mum and dad? I remember my mum and dad, Legion of James, coming back to me saying, you've got to read other stuff other than Doctor Who. And I was very lucky because whenever I got a Doctor Who book, either my mum or dad would say to me, now you have to choose another one. How lucky was I in those days?
Yeah.
Because they weren't cheap. Because all I was reading was Doctor Who. And that's what I mean about Target got us reading. Yeah. Pete Ferreira saying to us, I thought about selling some, what's that, TMNT, graphic novels through World of Books, but they gave pennies for them. I think generally they're going to give a tiny payout when compared to other line auction sites. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is it? Well, who wants them? Doctor Who's where it's going to be. Doctor Who. Andrew Parker saying, I suspect that Terrance Dicks was an early form of AI.
No, he was definitely real. He was a unique man. He really was. Yeah.
He was just good at what he did. Because not only was he doing the Doctor Who books, but he was doing his own. There was a group of detectives. There was a teddy bear series as well. There was what was the other series? I can't remember. Huge books for him. He had loads of series out.
And he didn't admit it till a long time later, but back in the day he was also the consultant to the Target book range as well, advising them on which ones would make which would translate into good novels and sell well for them, which ones to avoid. Because Terrance Dicks said for years, steer clear of the historical ones, nobody will buy them.
There you go there. Keith's telling us that K9 book was September, Dalek book was October, shortly after Doctor Who Magazine 1. But again, as I say, if you find pictures of the shop at the Doctor Who exhibition around about this time in Blackpool, they are there. Loads of them. And that's why, again, they were special, because they remind me of... fantastic.
It's an indication of the times we were living through at the time that, more than a 10% increase in 1 month.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose as kids though we didn't know anything about that, did we? We just knew there's the Doctor Who book we've got to have. We were. That's why I say now as an adult, I was so lucky because my parents were scrimping and saving for all this. They must have gone without. To make sure I had a bloody book and could read. Amazing.
Inflation got to about 17-18%, didn't it? Something like that, because we also had that winter of discontent in 78, didn't we, where everything was out on strike.
I think it actually peaked at something like 21-22%.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're heading that way again, I swear to God. Hey, well, let's not get onto politics because you'll get me off. I'll be there all night. What we got here as well, Sadeko 24, my mum was also keen to steer me away from Doctor Who. Target was the only reason I ever started reading.
That's the thing.
No. Target was the only reason I ever started reading at a young age, as Stephen Braddock. Same for most of us, I would imagine. And have we all got a copy of the very wonderful The Target book that came out about 10 years ago? I think it's an absolute thing of beauty. Yeah.
Is that the David J. Howe book? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Essential to have if you're interested in the Target books. It's a wonderful volume and a bit of a Bible for Doctor Who fans when it comes to Target. Amazing stuff. Dougie is remembering that he got the making of Doctor Who out of the local library. My dad photocopied the whole book for me.
It'd be cheaper to buy it then.
I was going to say it'd just be cheaper to buy a copy, wouldn't it?
No, we did it at work, didn't he?
At
work, yes. All the things we got away with. Do you remember getting from? Not that it was us, but sometimes you find suddenly being delivered by Father Christmas huge bits of that old computer paper with the holes at the side. Do you remember? And you used to use it as scrap. Oh, where did this come from? Father Christmas. Oh, lovely. All Doctor Who pictures, reviews of books. Yes, I love it. Happy days there. And Hartnell's Ghost. Were some of the Target novelizations reprints of the original 60s paperbacks? Yes.
Yeah.
I think we might have covered them in part 1 of our Target show.
Yeah, actually, the first 3 were reprints of the Frederick Muller hardbacks from the 1960s.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think we did, didn't we? We covered them in part 1 of our show. You can go and have a look at that, the Target show we did, celebrating 50 years. So this is now, if you just joined us, this is us looking at other elements now. So this one's Target spins, which is great. So thank you for joining us. John Mason saying, I'm dyslexic, so I had the Target books and just drooled over the covers because I found it too hard to read them. Oh,
well, the covers were fantastic. They really were. Yeah.
They were. And the brilliant thing about these things as we covered is that these had illustrations, which the Target books, of course, as we covered, as we said before, phased out eventually.
Yeah, I really missed them when they took them out because I used to love those illustrations. They're always, as we said already, very different from what they were on TV, but they were still fascinating to look at, Yeah.
What were you saying there, Ian? Sorry?
No, they were glorious, the illustrations. I missed them as well when they phased them out. I thought it was always a shame. Really
they did continue them in the junior Doctor Who ones. Remember that? And the Brain of Morbius and the robot they came out.
We'll go to them in a second. Yeah, we'll have a look at them in a second. This is great. Benign Crinoid is saying food inflation is out of control. I'm a little bit worried now. What's he mean? What's he mean?
Just food's very expensive. That's what he means. Yeah.
It is, yes.
Well, we know Benign Crinoid. Don't forget. Bit of a plant. And Martin Duff, hello, it's nice to see you. Late on duty, so we'll play catch up later. Anything Target is a winner. I'm particularly fond of memories of the books in my primary school library in Truro in the late 1970s. Yeah. I remember being told by a teacher of mine called Mrs. Poynton, God love her, not to take them out all the time because other children might want to read them.
Now, my school library had the hardback versions of the novels, which I just used to drool over. To me, the ultimate luxury would be able to afford to buy the hardback versions of the books. And being the good little boy that I was also a librarian at school. And one time there was a delivery of new books to the library, including the then latest Doctor Who book, which was Planet of the Daleks. And I happened to be on duty as a school librarian when the consignment arrived and I was unpacking them. And they delivered 2 copies instead of 1.
Ooh.
Now, the school actually had a school librarian, not just a teacher doubling up. They employed somebody just to be the librarian. Turned around to me and said, "Oh, you like Doctor Who, don't you?" I said, "Well, we're only supposed to have 1 copy, and we've only been invoiced for 1 copy, so you have this one." So I was given a hardback copy of Planet of the Daleks, which I still have to this day, and it's the only one of the hardbacks that I have.
Yeah. That's amazing. I got rid of all the hardbacks I had. I didn't have the whole set, George, but I must have had about 15, and including the original Chris Achilleos 3 Doctors, which was the cover that I absolutely loved, the iconic cover. And I got rid of them all years ago. Like vinyl, you just regret it, don't you? Because you suddenly think, I thought, well, I've got all the paperbacks and I'm getting a good deal for this, so yeah, let them go. I haven't got the space, the usual traveling, blah blah blah. Idiot. Idiot. What was I doing?
I remember being given that book and walking home that afternoon with it in my bag. And it was like I was walking on air. I was just so elated to have this book.
Yeah. Well, lovely thing for them to do because you didn't have to do that. Did you?
That's one of my favourite covers of that, with her struggling with the Dalek on the front cover. Bernard Hospital and Pertwee, lovely cover.
Yeah. Right, so we just mentioned there very quickly, didn't we? Or you mentioned there, Paul. So let's have a look at this now. Another spin-off from the Target novels that came along. I was actually a new version of the Target novels. This is the covers for them. This was Junior Doctor Who. Now, these novels were rewritten by Terence. So Target went back to him and said, listen, go back and have a look at this and go back and do your novel and write them for 5 to 8-year-olds. Now, I remember as an 8-year-old not being very impressed with these blooming things, to be quite honest. Yeah. I thought they were, and this always got to me. Obviously, we've got Junior Doctor Who and the Giant Robot and Junior Doctor Who and the Brain of Morbius. And I never understood, even as an 8-year-old or 9-year-old, whatever it was, why bother? Because we had the original version and loved them anyway.
That's what I thought as well. It's like, why do you need to make it younger? Because we're reading them anyway. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Which one have you got there, Ian? Have you got both of them?
No, I don't have Brain of Morbius. I've got Giant Robot, and I agree with you. I never saw the point of it because my first book was Day of the Daleks, and I think when I got that, I would have probably been about 8. Yeah, and I was absolutely fine with it. And so I never saw the point. I thought it was almost like dumbing it down, really. But you know, looking at it again now, there are some wonderful illustrations in it. Virtually on every other page, they're absolutely glorious. Some stuff like, you know, the Doctor.
I love that Tom in his Viking costume.
Trying out.
Hang on, Ian. Let me do a close up because I've got them. Look at these.
They're much better.
Yeah, so I've got these. These they sort of encapsulate what they were trying to do with these books, I think. What else have we got? We've also got these two here.
JT, did you not colour these ones in if you had them? No.
Well, the thing is, Paul, I didn't have these because I just looked down on them. I really thought no, because I had the Giant Robot book here. I had the Brain of Morbius book, you know. So when these come along, I looked at them. And I just snubbed them for years. And these things, again, were on the various shelves for years.
I seem to remember there was a long gap between the publication. Giant Robot was the first one. Brain of Morbius was the second published, I seem to remember.
Yeah. What year was yours published, Ian?
Let's have a look. 1979.
Right. Okay. There you go.
I seem to think there was quite a gap between the two of them being published.
We probably were, but I don't know. Look, a lot of them in the chat are saying the same thing. Why was it done?
Well, it's funny, Ian, as you're saying, they're looking at the illustrations. The illustrations are lovely, though, aren't they? Really nice.
Yeah.
I still appreciate how nice they were at the time. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, there's even stuff from obscure scenes, like you know, as they turn up at the bunker just before the robot comes out and defends it with a disintegrator gun. There's even one as they turn up at the bunker.
Hang on. Let me just zoom in on you. Here we go. That's lovely.
That's really
glorious.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just wonderful stuff. Really.
The one you showed of Tom sort of waking up.
Yeah.
And his nightgown when he's coming in to find the TARDIS and find the TARDIS key. That shot of him looks completely bonkers. It's lovely. It's really nice.
A lot of you in the chat remembering these things as well and agreeing with all of us. What was the point? They didn't sell that much because they didn't carry on with them. I think the point was just basically to capture a different audience and make these things. Yeah. I mean, it's strange actually because BBC Books did their own version of this under the Easy Reads decades later. If you remember with Tennant and
I remember them. Yeah.
Very similar books.
One thing that always struck me about them, you know, as we said, you know, they were aimed at 5 to 8 year olds, but the covers I don't think are particularly enticing for a 5 to 8 year old.
But do you know what I remember as well, George, about this when I first saw them? I remember seeing them in one of my local bookshops in Northwich, where I went for an awful lot of my books back then. But it says Junior Doctor Who. Yeah. And that threw me because at the time we had Junior this and Junior that, and it was always about a bunch of kids.
Yeah, but what 5 to 8 year old would go, oh, mummy, that book with a picture of a Land Rover on the cover, can I have that?
Yeah.
Well, obviously not many of us did because it didn't go on any further.
It suggests to me a little bit that the Doctor Who's younger than he is as well. He's about 12. Junior Doctor Who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of
Richard
idea.
Brooks was saying quite rightly, children of any era basically despise being talked down to. They would get a dictionary and look at words if they're inspired to learn. I would hope that's still the case today, because it was with us, wasn't it? And Legion of James saying, I never got these Junior Doctor Who books, but watching Who's Views, I can hear my credit card spontaneously combusting. I'm going to have to get them now. Me a completist? No, never. I have to, listen.
That's the trouble, isn't it?
Yeah. Believe it or not, they were the first covers, everybody, because they did get a slight rebrand. And again, I avoided them for years and years and years. And I was working at a library supplier when the rep told me that these things are now going out of print. So being a Doctor Who fan, I got this one. Now, I couldn't get the robot. I couldn't get the giant robot, but this was the reprint of Doctor Who and the Brain of Morbius by Terence Dicks. So basically, the then logo.
Yeah.
A big blurb on the back, everybody. And that's where it's confirmed. Look, 5 to 8 year olds. I don't know if it's on your side, Ian.
So we're well into the 80s there when that got reprint.
No, you don't have that. Well, this one, let's have a look. Yeah, this now. When did I get this? This was bought in 1989. It was published in 1980, and it sat on the shelves of this library supply I used to work on, because the librarians from the schools or the libraries didn't want it. And it's in a perfect condition. It was £1.60 by this point. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. I couldn't get the giant robot version, but looking at it, the illustrations again were superb.
Oh, they're really nice. Yeah, they're lovely. Yeah.
Look at that. I've never read it. I've never looked at it. Again, it was just on the shelf. I've got it off the shelf for this.
Ooh. That's really lovely. That Morbius is great. Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible stuff. Really good stuff. I can tell that the cyanide bit is still there, though. Look at that for a 5 to 8 year old. Look at this.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you are. Yeah.
Hello.
5 to 8 year olds were made of sterner stuff then, weren't they?
Yeah.
It was Doctor Who.
That's quite violent for 5 to 8, isn't it? If someone being strangled by a monster with a claw aimed at 5 to 8.
Nowadays, 25 to 28 year olds are being therapy with that picture.
They would,
yeah.
But they are beautiful illustrations. Absolutely fantastic.
Duncan the Funky Evans says, look at page 53 of The Brain of Morbius, and what is Kondo doing to Sarah? And I'm fascinated. I don't have the book, so I don't know if he means the original book or if they're on different pages. I don't know.
Well, Kondo did like Sarah, didn't he? To be fair, he was quite fond of her.
Pretty lady.
Oh no!
Is it that one?
Is it that one?
Dear God, it must. Wow.
That's a good depiction of Kondo. Who did the art for this? These are amazing. Look at that one at the beginning.
Oh, that's a lovely one. Yeah.
Really set the scene. But I wish I got the robot one now as well, because the illustrations make the book. Do you know what? They haven't even put the illustrator in that. Isn't that naughty of them? Is it in yours, Ian?
There was.
Oh, well, no, here it's illustrated by Peter Edwards. I take it back. It's at the beginning.
Yeah, Peter Edwards. Yeah.
But there you go.
In fact, actually, I told a lie as well. My giant robot. It says the illustrations are copyright 1979 and the book is copyright 1980.
Oh,
right. So they rejacketed
copyright 1980.
Well, maybe they went from that to this rejacketed very quickly because they suddenly realized, oh, here's a logo that we have. I mean, again, we know that JNT was very insistent. You have to use my logo, as it were, on everything. So maybe they just did that.
So I wonder if the intention was to do all of them and do a whole series of Junior Doctor Who.
If it's sold, I bet you.
Yeah, I bet they would.
Maybe they thought that we'd all go back and buy them again.
Yeah.
Again, I assume it's
just buy multiple copies of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, we always do. Yeah.
I think this is another example
of copies of Spearhead from Space. Just
this is another example of Target trying out something else to see if there's another avenue that could be a moneymaker for them. And clearly, it stalled very early on.
Well, it did because there was only the two.
Yeah.
We got Andrew Parker saying to us, Kondo like Sarah, she pretty lady. We'll move on.
Do you think they do the audios? Do you think they do the audios of these in a voice like those kids from the Haribo adverts?
Oh, God, I hope not. Oh,
those adverts are so creepy. I hate them.
Oh, they're horrible.
I'm sure there's a big finish line in preparation already.
They are probably doing as we speak.
Ian, I just thought, Junior Doctor Who and the Giant Robot, read by Shooty Gatwa.
Oh God! Let's not bring the level down, everybody. We're doing well. Hey, Jason Parker's with us. Hello, Jason. At school, I was often sent to the isolation for allegedly being naughty to the library as punishment. It was packed with Doctor Who Target books and Tim and the Hidden People. I had a wonderful time. Yeah.
I bet you were naughty on purpose just to get to the library.
I bet he was. I bet he read all the Doctor Who books 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Naughty Jason Parker. I bet you did. But yeah, fancy. They used to do that to us eventually, occasionally. You know, you were naughty, so they sent you to the library thinking it was a punishment. I think they were. Hello, it's no, thank you. Lots of stuff to do in there. And Sadeko saying to us, you'd almost expect it to be arranged about the Doctor's son or nephew, a bit like the James Bond Junior cartoon. I do remember Junior James Bond books being around at the same time. You know, about Bond when he was a boy. And I wasn't interested in them either.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I don't know. Duncan saying Junior Doctor Who, the Time Tot Adventures. Well, there you go. That's what you can do with this new children's BBC thing coming. Oh, look at this. Listen, we can't take any responsibility from this, Domgo. I've ordered all these books tonight. What a brilliant show.
I'm so sorry to cost you so much money. Yeah.
That's terrible. No, that's great though, isn't it? Jamie9526 says, never underestimate the draw of a Land Rover to a kid, even in the 80s. I imagine they would never have done Dinosaur Invasion if it wasn't Pertwee. Yeah. And Graham says he's never seen that one before. Wow. What, the rejackets? Yeah, they did. The rejackets, yeah. There you go. Oh, and listen to this. Stephen Braddock says, yes, I agree. Since watching Who's Views, I've now managed to get 11 of the Doctor Who annuals. My poor bank account.
And they're not cheap. Certainly early ones aren't, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. IN is with us. Hello, IN. Tomb of the Cybermen hardback had an Invasion Cybermen has on the cover. It was confusing. I was really annoyed about that, IN. The story of that. My neighbour at the time very graciously gave me the copy he had read. And I remember being a bit peed off with it because that's the wrong Cybermen. Can you go back and get the right one?
But, as did Doctor Who and the Cybermen, the novelisation of the Moon Base.
That's right. Yeah. Oh.
I used to love the cover for the Tomb with the Invasion Cybermen, but it would irk me that it wasn't the right one, like Moonbase as well. You know.
Yeah. But it was great because they eventually had to rejacket it and we had to buy them again. Look what they've just done with the Wheel in Space, with the BBC version of the Target book with a new cover there that they put in the one of the recent DWMs. Nice another cover, Lots of you actually celebrating Kondo now, you weirdos.
Nobody has ever been shot like Kondo was shot. That was a real exploding
superb, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think that rivaled Blake, didn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant effect. The only ones I haven't got, says Richard Brooks, is the K9 one and the juniors. Well, as I say, keep having a look around because they might be out there somewhere, everybody. Honestly, very surprising. Right, so we've done all that bit, and now we're going to take us to this. Now, back in 1981, these books were released. Now, some of you may remember being there. We were just getting over the massive effect of Tom Baker leaving Doctor Who. This was a huge thing. Christmas comes around, and Target are fantastic, and they are geniuses, and they were brilliant because they started to release gift sets with 3 or 4 Doctor Who Target novels in. Now, I remember that Christmas being delighted because my Target novel book collection went from this to this because of these books. It was brilliant to see them all, the Target range growing on the shelves. What an easy find. And they were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. And in those Target novel gift sets were 2 particular books that would, to this day, become legendary for a generation. The program guides arrived in 2 volumes. Volume 1 dealt with the programs, and Volume 2, What's What and Who's Who. And the image coming so soon after the 5 Doctors as well, everybody, the 5 Faces of Doctor Who series. This image, I was so excited about this cover because there's Doctor 5 who hadn't at this point been seen on the telly. Do you remember?
Yeah, because this is just got to Logopolis, doesn't it? Yeah, in the program section. Yeah.
But
it's
this
really
changed our lives, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. This this was, to me, was when Target started to directly acknowledge and cater for the geek market, because this, this is not for the casual reader. This is proper Doctor Who anorak zipped up fan stuff.
Yeah.
I used to have the hardback versions of these two books, and sadly I sold them on. But they were fantastic. The hardbacks were really lovely, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
With a slightly different typeface.
Yeah.
The typefaces for these two on the hardbacks were different. It was sort of a bit jazzy, wasn't it? A bit like people would use today, actually. On thumbnails and stuff. This was published, as I say, in 1981 by a name that became quite famous for Doctor Who fans at the time, Jean-Marc Lofficier.
He was American, wasn't he?
Apparently so. I always thought he was French.
So did I. Yeah.
Apparently
not.
not.
A place on a low, to be honest.
There was a foreword in the book as well, as you will remember if you had these back in the day, by Barry Letts, which is, even reading it now, it's lovely. It's lovely. And really nice. And this thing became essential for all of us because of the listings in it. Everybody, look at this.
Yeah. Well, it was
absolutely fabulous.
The two combined were like the making of Doctor Who on steroids.
Yeah, well, they were. And of course, these two were republished and re-edited several times over. But we're going to deal with these two here. What a life changer this was back in 81.
Oh, they were. JT, can you check for me again what the first 3 Hartnell stories are again?
Yes, let's do that.
Is it of interest?
Now, I'm not saying that these were perfect, as I'm sure a lot of you will remember. There are some mistakes in this. However, first season, A, An Unearthly Child. Episodes 2, 3, and 4 are also collectively known as The Tribe of Gum, but An Unearthly Child is the correct BBC designation for all 4 episodes.
Oh, here we go.
B, The Daleks, 7 episodes.
So that's changed from The Dead Planet.
Yeah. And what we've got here is the episode title. So it says An Unearthly Child, 4 episodes, broken down to An Unearthly Child, The Cave of Skulls, The Forest of Fear, and The Firemaker. The Daleks, broken down to The Dead Planet, The Survivors, The Escape, The Ambush, The Expedition, The Ordeal, and The Rescue. Brilliant. And I like this one as well for the Dalek. Of course, it does it again from the making of, where this sort of is being influenced by Doctor Who and the Daleks by David Whittaker, and then film Doctor Who and the Daleks.
Well, I think this was the first time that the individual episode titles from William Hartnell's time were published as well.
Yes.
You had the complete rundown of each individual episode name, not just the generic story title.
Yeah. But it was just so important, as Graham's saying to us. I always thought these were like updated and far more comprehensive versions of the making of. Well, it continues that vein, doesn't it?
Well, it's really weird. They brought another one out, didn't they, of this for going up to Survival as well, didn't they, later in the 80s?
Yeah.
And they've done a new version as well of new series stuff too.
You can still get it to this day. All updated, yeah. And there's another version coming apparently to take us to the end of the modern version of Doctor Who. God help you.
Well, I have this spin-off one that goes up to, I think, the 50th, which I think
yes.
And this is like a similar idea, but it goes from TV movie up to was Day of the Doctor, I think, or Time of the Doctor, I think goes up to.
I never got that, couldn't be bothered. Legion of James saying to us, the 2 volumes that started them all. How many program guides have we all bought over the years now? Exactly, because, and then this also became... There were spin-offs from this, as Paul's just shown us that. Other people sort of took it over and they did other versions for other publishers and stuff like that. But these were the 2. As Keith Burton's saying, the program guides were literally our Bibles. Yes. They were. I remember also these were very handy when you got home on a Monday night from Our Price or Virgin or wherever with your videos and you thought, right, where does it go on the shelf? Oh, yes, we're just looking at the program guide.
Exactly,
I remember. Yeah, I remember back in the day that these were very, very well thumbed and referred to practically on a daily basis. And just opening the cover, I've just realised that my program guide volume 1 is signed by Tom Baker and Mary Tam.
Oh, listen to him! Oh, is it really? Oh, God bless you! Look at that proper spelling of program, says the Jamie 9526. Absolutely, look at that program guide. Yes. Yes. Oh my God, the original version, said Duncan the Funky Evans. And sorry, Richard, but Richard's going, damn, I don't have these either, JT.
Cha-ching.
Yes. And at the same time, to go in nerd overdrive, There was also the Doctor Who quiz book.
The Doctor Who quiz book. Now, hang on, let me just bring that one up because that was in much of the same vein. So, can you show that? Let me just bring it. Can you bring that up again? Nigel Robinson. Now that spun off a couple of them because they went into Collins' time, didn't they?
Yeah, I read that so often. I always memorize the entire questions, to be honest.
Yeah. But again, like the program guys, the quiz books are done today by other people with other publishers. The BBC, not that I want to present it in any way because I don't like the person that wrote it. I say wrote, put it together, have just published another one. Don't go looking for it. But there you are, you know. Again, that's still there. But this is, I mean, it's amazing to think, isn't it? Now, let's have a little quiz. Let's have a little quiz. Now we've got this from program guide number 2 from back in the day, the What's What and the Who's Who. Now this was, in case you don't know, this was an index, alphabetical index of everything to do with Doctor Who up until the end of 1981 and Logopolis. Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys to give me a name of something and I'll look it up and see what the description is of it.
Meteorologist 3.
Duncan's just reminded us about nobody else did a cookbook. Emmerdale Farm did. Yeah. Oh, go on. What did you say, Paul?
I said Meteorologist 3.
Right. Let's have a look at that then. So that comes under M.
That's a good start.
H-I-V-C-H-I-J-K-L-M-N-O-P. Right. Okay. It's after K then for Kroll. Here we go. Meteorologist 3 or Metabolist 3. Why didn't they correct him on that?
I don't know. Yeah, why don't they just redub him? You know, but
yeah.
Moffat took his eye off the ball. He wasn't doing his job.
Yeah, I must have had a drink at the time. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, where are we? Meteorologist 3. Blue planet of the Action Galaxy. The Doctor found it to be very hostile and full of vicious blue animals. A crystal picked up there proved to be the missing piece searched by the Great One in big letters. A giant spider who controlled the descendants of the human colonists on the planet. The spiders were destroyed by the Doctor.
Okay. Lovely.
To the point there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Drashig.
Drashig. Oh, hang on. We'll continue to put this up for them. Drashig.
Anagram of dish rag. Yay.
Duggan's in it as well. Right, Drashig. Where is this? Oh, hang on.
Dish rag is what they use to write the stories now.
Ugly and vicious swamp monsters. They escaped from the scope in which they were prisoners and created some disturbance on planet Interminor. Some disturbance. At half of them.
I'm saying mildly, isn't it?
I would have hoped it would have used the word omnivore or omnivorous.
And said they came from one of Grundle's satellites.
Yeah.
Wild Grundle. Satellite.
Oh, it's good that we can laugh again, isn't it? It's good that we can laugh. Oh, look, Australia's in there as well. That's good.
Never heard of it.
No, they're right. We've got here. Who was it that was asking that? Hang on a second. I saw that in the. Who was it? Keith Burton would say Axos. Look up Axos. So I have single entity, which is both ship and passengers simultaneously. It can look like beautiful golden beings or like a crawling mass of tentacles. With the help of a substance which is part of itself, Axonite, it steals the energy of hapless worlds. Axos allied itself with the Master to destroy Earth. It was time looped by the Third Doctor.
I prefer Terence's description. It's like an upturned pot of spaghetti bolognese. I think that's much better.
Yeah. You can see it was up to date as well. Block transfer computations, method used by the mathematicians of Logopolis to shape or recreate reality. This must have had some work done. What was yours, George?
I was going to say Mavic Shen.
Mavic Chen. That's M. Hang on.
He knows his stuff. Yeah.
Mavic Chen. Sorry, I was just reading The Matrix. Sorry, I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. Mavic Chen.
You're going to be up all night reading this book, aren't you, JT?
I am. This is brilliant. Do you know what? Interest. I wonder if he's under... He's not there.
What? He's under Stephen Chen?
Guardian of the Solar System, is he under that?
Well, let's have a look at Chen first. Ooh. No, he's not under Chen either. Guardian of the Solar System. Okay, we'll check under G.
The only other thing I can think of is Terranium.
That's very remiss of Jean-Marc, isn't it? Let's be honest, not mentioning that.
Well, I told you there were some mistakes. No, he's not under Guardian either. Just George to find one. The Guardians of Time are there. There are at least 2 of them. That's interesting, isn't it?
The White Guardian.
The White Guardian on the side of order and the Black Guardian on the side of chaos, but their exact nature, role, and powers are yet unclear. The White Guardian enlisted the help of the Doctor and Romana to reconstitute the key to time and restore the universal balance. The Black Guardian confronted the Doctor after the Time Lord had reassembled the key. Thwarted by the Doctor, he swore to have his revenge on the Time Lord. To escape the Black Guardian, the Doctor equipped the TARDIS with a randomizer. Thank God RTD forgot about that. Imagine what he would have done. Yeah, imagine. But yes, there we go.
Yes.
So there we go.
I honestly didn't know that, but they've omitted Mavic Chen.
They have omitted.
Outrageous.
It is outrageous, isn't it? But as we say,
justice for Mavic Chen. That's our next one.
He must be in the next lot, mustn't he? He must have been in the updated version. Because when was it updated? It was updated. It wasn't the end of Peter. Was it in Colin's time?
I know they updated the program guide up to Sylvester. They did up to Survival. I think that was the last time it was updated. But I don't remember when they updated the other book.
Yeah. It's good stuff, this, actually. I've never really looked at it properly, but it's good stuff. There you go. Yeah, so that was the program.
This is the updated version I have.
That's the one. When was that released?
Let me just check. Published 1989.
Yeah, so the end of Survival then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember buying that one as well. There it is down there, because that was brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. There's loads of stuff we could talk about here with all these spins. We're going to have to do another one, aren't we, Who viewers? What do you say? Definitely. What do you say? Because we've just touched the tip of the iceberg, as they say here, haven't we? Because there's loads to talk about. We've got discontinuity guides going on. We've got handbooks to talk about. We've got myth doctors to talk about. There's so much that Target WH Allen published.
There's one, the discontinuity guide makes me laugh. The description of the Who-mobile. It's like a futuristic Reliant Robin. That was made me laugh.
Yeah. We've also got things like the terrestrial index and stuff like that all coming up because, yes, Richard has read our minds, guys. This needs to be a series, JT. Well, welcome to part 2. And if you include our annual ball that we did, part 3, there is so much for us to talk about. There's honestly, Graham saying to us, definitely, this has been absolutely fabulous. And Duncan again saying to us, we've not even mentioned the companion novels. It's on the clipboard. It's all there. There's lots to do. But yeah, so much to talk about. This shows you, doesn't it? Over 26 years and then a bit. Come and stay with us here on Who's Views, because there's lots to talk about. I hope you have enjoyed this particular show. As I say, part 2, lots more to come. To Third Doctor Ian, to George, and to Paul, thank you so much for joining me for this walk down memory lane.
Thank you. It was lovely.
Really good.
Yeah. Just to say to Keith there, thank you for this. So unless it's been done already, we need an annual show. It has. It's called the Annual Ball. We did it last year. It's on the playlist. You can go and have a look at it now, because we're about to go to bed.
That was fun.
It was really fun, yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you've subscribed. Thank you so much for being with us as we move forward now. Do I sense the wilderness? Possibly. Possibly. If you're interested, our next scheduled show is on Friday, where we're going to be looking at the Peter Cushing Hammer horror film, Brides of Dracula. Got to watch it, yes. Never seen this. Looking forward to that. So come join us live on the channel at 8 o'clock. Lots more coming up on this particular subject. And of course, as usual, all the headlines and everything else we're going to throw at you, reviews, all sorts. If you've been with us for a while, thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you're still subscribed. Give the show a thumbs up. It helps us more than you can possibly realize. Thank you very much. From the 4 of us, thank you for joining us. Thanks to Legion of James that's been in the chat. Thank you so much as well to Kirsty, who was in the chat with us earlier as well. And thank you for your comments. Look at this. Mark is saying great show. And Charles, 1642, good to see you. Another excellent stream, very informative. Many thanks. And I hope you had a bit of fun as well.
Yeah.
Pete Harrington saying to us, wonderful chat. Take care, fellow travelers. And Richard saying, good night, folks. Thanks for the chat and panel. Great fun. Killbot Kill was with us as well. TTFN. Oh, good for you. Thanks. Nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you. But yeah, I've enjoyed tonight. What a great show. That's what it's all about, people. Yes, it's about celebrating the Doctor as well as whatever that crap was earlier this month. But that's what it's all about now. Welcome to Who's Views. From all of us, look after yourselves. We'll be back soon. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Ciao, everyone.
Good, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.